Good evening, everybody. We are live today, the 12th of January 2018. Oh, and we've just lost our guest. Come back, Aaron. We've got Aaron with us and he's going to be talking about Project Lumen. Oh, there he is. Oh, I was just about to introduce you and you went.
It's my disappearing trick. I'm back.
Oh, you're back, Aaron. Yay! How are you, Aaron? Obviously, Yudit from Israel, Aaron from America. California, isn't it?
Yeah, California.
Hello, Yudit. And no, oh no, he must be doing something on his computer. We've lost him again. Aaron. Here he is. Hey.
I don't know. I apparently. Hold on, let me try this again. Okay. I don't know why when I click that, it just keeps on closing the window. All right. I won't click on that.
I haven't even said hello to you properly and you're gone. Just so that everybody knows, it's not that we socialise particularly that much in the background, but we've known each other for a while, haven't we, on Hangouts? And you've come on quite a few Hangouts, just so people understand we've got a good rapport with Aaron. And obviously we are interested in his project. Project Lumen. I've got it the right way around now, haven't I?
Yeah, that's right. Project Lumen. Lumen Project is fine too, but it's kind of similar. I like it. Yeah, so Project Lumen. So for those who don't know, Project Lumen is my vision, my initiative in life to bring about what I'm calling light-based technologies. These are essentially technologies and techniques and ideologies of working with technology, like as far as computers and hardware and all that, but also people and consciousness and just this existence and where we find ourselves. And so we're striving to understand what this reality is. We're striving to be able to work with it. We're striving to understand the current society, how we see it manifesting, and how we can work with that to bring more light to the world, to bring more equality and goodness, and really just focus on initiatives that are for the good of all, rather than just everyone being self-serving and trying to just get a buck or put food on the table. We instead are really just focusing on what would be the best for all of humanity. And that's been kind of, in my mind, I've been working on it for decades now, as far as just the many initiatives and projects that can be done to provide solutions to the world, to the many problems that we have, that we see, that society faces. Solutions that are usually, win-win, and we all can just kind of get along and move forward. And then certain initiatives towards exposing certain truths that need to be exposed, bringing out whistleblowers and information that could help to form our understanding of what's going on here in society, in the world, in just consciousness and reality itself. So that's the gist of Project Lumen. That's kind of the overall view of it. And then I've been refining that and
way, Aaron, going a different way.
Right, a new way. Yeah. Yeah, like a new alternative. Rather than thinking that we're trapped in this world where we all have to work 9 to 5 slave jobs, or even if we enjoy our job, it's still a sort of slavery. And that's not okay with me, and that's not okay with most people, especially ones who have woken up and who are realizing that they have power and that they have the ability to change this world, like myself and many others. And this is the most beautiful part about this, is really how things are happening very synchronistically, and people are just kind of attracting. I've attracted various people, and I've had to really been using my skills of discernment with people in terms of, there's a lot of people that will come out of the woodwork and they're not all a good fit. And so it's really a matter of understanding who's going to work best together in this whole collective, this core group, that's really going to help to make these things a reality, make these things tangible in the society that we can use and we can benefit from. So right now I'm working on, you might say, infrastructure for a lot of this, the actual software side of things, and kind of technologies for how we can communicate, how we can have censorship-free social networks and ways to publish our content that just, is completely in alignment with this light-based technology, with the truth, and all the truths that we come to find and discover, and we discover them collectively, and we are able to sort of extrapolate these truths into this infrastructure, into this content, this distributed content databases that will enable us to kind of free ourselves from all centralized systems. This goes in terms of content, this goes in terms of communications, this goes in terms of currency. Be able to use things like Bitcoin, but also just cryptocurrencies in general, and blockchain technologies are instrumental to all of this, and instrumental to us freeing ourselves from the centralized control structures that have been in place and been repressing us and been hiding certain truths from us that now we are discovering for ourselves. And Project Lumen also aims to be sort of this, it's like an educational institution, you might say, where we can all come together and we can learn from each other, and we can share what we're learning, and ultimately over time refine this into a greater and greater clarity of what is the truth, what is the evidence we have for this, and how can we proceed from here as far as creating this new world that we want to see. It is a process. It'll take however much time it takes, but it just requires people like myself and you guys just really coming together and deciding that you want to check your ego at the door and start co-creating with other people. And through that act alone, through that decision, just for anyone that makes that decision, we're sort of immersing ourselves into this world. Welcome to this world.
I like that, Aaron. This ego at the door thing. I like that.
Oh, it's huge. It's the biggest part about this, because the main reason we're in this mess is because of the ego. The ego, people have sort of surrendered to their own ego's insignificance, and because of that, they just get carried around like they're a dog on a leash. And so everyone's just kind of gratifying their own ego, and that's where this corporate monster has come from, where now corporations have an ego of their own, and it was put there by the humans that planted this seed, this concept of incorporation, of the idea that there could be a legal entity that sort of exists that is not flesh and blood, that now has all the rights of a normal human, and then has certain objectives, which is really just the bottom line, increasing the profits. And so however that may happen, and that's why we have all these problems, is because that mentality has just infected the entire society right now. And I know I'd say the majority of people don't want it. The great majority, even the people that are sort of stuck in it at even high levels, they probably prefer a good-natured system that actually was based in equality and really just valuing what is valuable. And so Project Lumen, you could say, is that's its primary aim, is to value that which is intrinsically valuable. And through that, we will enable ourselves to have only things of value in our world, in our society. And all the things that are not valuable will just kind of fall away with time, because we'll see how useless they are. And these mentalities and these ways of thinking, where it's just about the money rather than the actual people that are doing the work that's behind that paycheck, for example, or the actual resources that you might affect if you make this decision at a corporate level. It might destroy a rainforest. Well, that's not good. That's not for the good of all. So that's not in alignment with light technology. And so, in a way, Project Lumen can also act as like, we can go around to businesses and teach them how to be ergonomic, as far as like, how do you, right now I'm standing at a stand-up desk. I can sit down too, but like, that's ergonomic, right? I'm efficient with how I use my body. My body is natural, right? But the way that I interact with the society is also natural if I make it that. Whereas, if I choose to like have poor posture, if I choose to destroy a rainforest, this is all bad posture. This is all bad ergonomics. It's all bad feng shui. And let's see, are we live? Is this the thing? It's all bad ergonomics. It's all bad feng shui. There I am.
Yeah, we're live. We're live. Don't worry. Was I being a bit too quiet, Aaron?
Yeah, no,
I'm listening.
Yudit was asking, but yeah. So I guess that's my intro, long-winded intro. I don't know if you guys have any questions at this point. Feedback.
Right. I think the people in the chat room are listening right now. We've only just been going to 5-10 minutes. Sometimes the chat room takes a little time to build up. Explain a little bit about yourself. Del Boy's just come into the chat room. Flat Dave's there. Sorry, I'm not looking up. I'm trying to get I suddenly got really hot. I had to take my dressing gown off. I'm in my dressing gown. It's cold here, Aaron, unlike you, where it's nice and warm.
Yeah, I have my AC cranking. Yeah, if you can believe that. It's actually kind of hot, even though I have my AC. What?
Explain a little bit about yourself and how you got to the Lumen project. Explain a little bit about yourself and how you got to the Lumen project.
Sure. All right. Well, I have a pretty interesting history, I guess. I've always been very spiritually oriented. I was technically raised Catholic, but I would walk out of the church and I just knew that the priest was just all wrong. He had it all wrong. And I started like looking more into intuitive. I started looking into Taoism when I was very young, and yoga, and so that just kind of became a part of my life. I started doing Tai Chi. That really transformed me and helped me to understand that, everything is energy. And kind of through meditation and meditative practice, I started coming to learn just about the self and about myself and healing and transformation and transfiguration and all this fun stuff. And I just kind of went on various soul journeys of studying various teachers, different types. Had like a Sufi teacher was my first, and then I went to this place called the School of Metaphysics, studied there for a few years, and studied all kinds of things there, dreams and meditation and astral projection. And then kind of just went off. I actually spent a lot of time in nature. This is what a lot of this intuitive work kind of led me to, was to go actually live in nature. And so I spent years off and on living in nature, and I actually even built a grass hut at one point and lived there in the plains of Kansas. You can imagine that. But then I basically had the realization that this is how we're supposed to live, in nature, connected to nature, in harmony with nature, and also realized that I needed to come back into society and help people realize this. So here I am in society, living in Los Angeles, the opposite of living in nature, and trying to survive in that way of just being a sensitive soul amongst a lot of not as sensitive souls, let's just say. But it's going great. I've been meeting a lot of people, connecting with people, and just even in the last few months, really starting to get some of these wheels turning as far as making some of these visions that I've had a reality. And it's definitely underway. And I say these visions kind of started coming to me since I was like 14 or something. You know, I realized very young age that that I had a specific mission, a specific purpose that I wanted to do here. It was never like this thing, oh, this burden that I have to do. It's always just this understanding that this is why I came here. It's because I wanted to do this. I didn't have to do it, but it's that drive, that desire that I want to do it, which is really what pushes me now and always has.
You were a child, Aaron.
I was a child. What'd you ask me?
Since you were a child, you felt like this?
Since I was a child, yeah. Since as far as I can remember, yeah. I was always pretty in tune, and I was always very interested in learning new things. So I've spent a lot of my life just learning new things, and so I have a lot of skills and understandings, and I can apply that through all these different avenues. Yeah, so I mean, my whole life I've really just been driven to do this. I've gotten distracted so many times. That's one of the interesting parts. Is I mean, everyone gets distracted, I suppose. But you know, I think, oh, going down this rabbit hole over here might help me to achieve my vision over here. And no, every time I would try to do that, it would usually not work out. Not work out in the way that I expected. It never does, really. But you know, when I would do something that was sort of like sacrificing some of my integrity or some of my overall intention with these visions, it would always kind of come back and bite me and show me that really I just need to do what I'm doing here, which is jumping straight to the point, sharing these realizations with people, putting the stuff together, just making it happen, rather than trying to expect anyone else to come along and really be able to make it happen for me, or even just get the financial abundance first and then be able to make it happen. It's always been like, well, I need to just start making it happen. And as soon as I started doing that, which you might say, I don't know, 8 months, a year ago, when I really started on this path that I'm on now, it's really started. Things have been starting to unfold. I've been attracting people. I've been attracting opportunities, and really just it's amazing. It's amazing. And this is part of the light technologies as well, is just being able to live life in the flow, being able to live where you are seizing every opportunity that comes along, where you're visualizing what it is that you intend and desire to manifest, but then also being open to how it actually manifests, and usually better than you can imagine. So then you have to respond and adapt and grow at every single point along the way. And this has been all a learning process for me, of learning even these concepts. I would call it technology. It is technology. It's techniques for how to live life and how to create things in life. Because I could be just in a cave, and I could just be typing away, code or a document or something, and and that could be like maybe expressing a part of what I'm trying to do. But now I'm closing myself off to opportunities, and so the universe isn't really able to help me in any way. It's not. I'm not putting myself in a location that is accessible by others, and that's how we sort of help the universe or the cosmos help us. It's all this like co-creative process that it is a skill. It is a skill, and many of us already have this skill developed from previous understandings. And so it's really a matter of just kind of remembering, oh yeah, this is how it works. I just hold it in my mind, what I want to happen. I reinforce that. I let go of any negative thoughts whatsoever. And then I just really continue in that mode of thinking until something comes along that basically recognizes an opportunity. Follow that opportunity. Does it lead me in the right direction? You still have to respond. You still have to use your mind all along the way. You can never go to sleep. That's part of this process. It's like, you have to wake up, and then you just stay awake. And it's much easier said than done, but this is kind of the technology, this is the technique, is to just be here in the present moment all the time. Every single moment, you're there. You're here. And so through these kinds of concepts, these techniques that I've been developing over years, I learned a lot of it through various teachers, shamans, through shamanistic medicine circles, through my own experimentation with various plants and herbs that can cause great awakenings within the self. I've come to just really see that here I am. I'm just like a person like everyone else. I have the same ability to create anything that anyone else has, equally in that way. However, the only thing I'm doing differently than a lot of people is I'm sort of like using that. I'm here, and every single day I'm like moving forward on these projects, these initiatives, these visions. And because of that movement, I'm attracting to myself all of these resources that can help me to manifest it. And I still have to use my discernment and always be awake, so that if someone comes along trying to like trick me into going down this path, I have to be, oh, hold on, no. I kind of have to fire that person and hire someone else, or just focus on this new direction, because and that's my skill that I've been developing, and I'm not perfect with it, so I still make mistakes. And that's again part of the process. As long as I'm here, I'm going to be sort of imperfect. And we're all imperfect as we're here, and that's part of the learning process, part of the light technology.
Aaron, can I just say that the Build has joined us? He has his own channel. He may have missed some of this. He's quite a new channel. Hello, James.
Hello.
The Build.
How's it going? Hey, Karen. How you doing?
Hey, we're good, thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for allowing me to be on the panel with you guys tonight. You do a great show.
I don't know if you know anything about Aaron's project. Aaron, I know that you just explained it, but could you just give a little, like, whatever it is again, so that, again?
Sure.
Sorry, Aaron.
No, it's okay.
But it's someone who may not have heard this, so it's good that someone else hears it.
Practice makes perfect, right?
This is, well, the Build.
The Build.
James.
All right. Hello, the Build.
Aaron.
Hello. You can call me James. It's fine.
Hi, James. Okay, so Project Lumen is a vision for a new society. It's a new reality. It's basically using what I've been calling light-based technologies, which are just tools and techniques for being in alignment with the high self and the whole collective. And so now we're doing things. We're creating technologies and products and networks and content and all kinds of things from this space, with this alignment. And so I've been working with a number of initiatives, anywhere from, creating intentional communities that are practicing these principles, to film and music. That doesn't, they don't have to surrender their integrity and their intention to sell out to Hollywood or to Sony or whatever. They maintain their purity, and create beautiful works of art and truth that then can just we can help to push things like this more mainstream. We can act as more of a mainstream channel that will help, we'll get this information out in a way that right now, like, there's no competitors for the Foxes and the Sonys and all these big studios. They just have all of the airtime, and that's because they forced their way into there, and they have had the money to be able to do so. And so what I'm working on is, overall, it's just a whole bunch of initiatives. There will be a lot of money within all of this, but that will be used for these technologies that are in alignment. And so therefore, we'll be able to build these various things successfully, as opposed to like me just trying to do it by myself, or anyone else trying to do it by themselves, which has happened, and then they don't ever get enough momentum, perhaps, to really take off, or maybe they get pulled down some detour and distracted. So I was just saying about distraction and how, for me, even though I've been working with Project Lumen and the visions of it for over 20 years, it's been a constant process of getting distracted and getting back on track. And now I like to think that I'm on pretty solidly on this track now. And so yeah, things are definitely happening. I don't know if I explained it as well that time, but
well, I think I understood pretty well. And honestly, we really are one as a people, because we was talking about this the other day on Karen's show, and I wasn't with Karen. I think that's one of the reasons why she invited me here today.
Yeah, we were.
I think that's highly commendable, and I respect everything that you're doing. It takes a lot of bravery, and you definitely have that, especially like talking about over 20 years you've been planning, man. That's something. Tip my hat off to you, man, because seriously, we are in big trouble here. So as far as like music is concerned, basically what the elite have done is use the arts to influence the masses, and we have to use that same energy to correct it. Instead of the negativity, just use positivity. And I believe that almost everybody who is a part of this community is very autistic. And I have also said that it's gonna take a lot of us coming together to get this done, because we need more than one voice.
Right.
When I say that, we need more than one person representing this idea. We cannot take this, what they've given us, any longer. I'm talking about the filth with the music, because it's giving us the right to just be negative. And when I say that, I mean like they're showing us the narrative that being quote unquote bad is actually good. They're switching everything, and if we can catch it before it's too late, I think we could really do some good. There's a lot of children out there that is in big trouble for their future because of this music. So, and I personally know them. You know what I mean? There's all types of people going in and out of jail.
It's playing. I can see it.
What's up?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was talking to you. I didn't realise my microphone was off. She was saying to me she couldn't see something. I'm so sorry. Whoops, that was for you. I just sent her a message. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. I love what's going on here. I love your idea. Project Loomis will be an amazing hit. I think that this is something that we need as a people, for sure. If anyone gets hops along with this idea, man, this is going to be something monumental. I know I want to. I make music myself, all types of genres. So I'm more than willing to contribute free of charge. I want to only do this for free. Like my channel, we promote free information, free music, and also right now what I'm trying to do is get together catalogs for different shows like Karen's and mine, just to have really good content for music for people. So because a lot of things that's going on right now with the music industry is it's coming out, the pedophilia, and also I'm pretty sure people are ready for a change. This is the time. 2018 is really one to expose the truths and also to gain better lifestyles. I think there's a lot of lifestyles out there attached to music that are just highly, highly negative. And what you're doing at Project Lumen, man, you're really battling that concept, and I appreciate that. But not only battling the concept, but battling the fear aspect that they put into us, for our consciousness. I mean, I feel like getting all the tools together to raise our consciousness, man, that's humongous, and it's something that everybody should be representing and supporting you with, because this is like I said, we're all one, and we need to seriously come together and come to terms with what we're doing to our future as far as content. With movies, like you said, in Hollywood, I mean, there's a lot of perversion, there's a lot of misconceptions, deceptions, there's a lot of satanic symbols in their stuff, and it's just really sad, as a people that we've come this far, and we just let things just take over. I remember back in the day, everything was so, how can I say it? Like, little kids couldn't do much on like swearing and stuff. I remember like on television, like they only had like, it was like no swears, and then like a couple years later they started saying the B word, and then they started saying ass, and then they started like, it just started becoming more and more open, and then homosexuality started becoming more and more open, and then you just see it. I saw it change. I'm 28. So I mean, I remember when everything was just like super super like quirky and everything was innocent. I mean, there was still like some with Disney and all that. There was like some, yeah. So I mean, but it was unbeknownst to everybody until like the information came out on YouTube. It was still kind of innocent. I mean, even though there was subliminal messages going to the subconscious of children, that I still feel like for the most part the parents felt like it was okay. You know what I'm saying? And what's going on today with music and movies and TV shows, man, it worries me. My little daughter listens to, I remember the song Genie in a Bottle by Christina Aguilera? Okay, Christina Aguilera had a song called Genie in a Bottle, right? It came out like probably like over 10 years ago. It was like, actually, it was her first hit, actually. That was her hit. That's what she came out with, Genie in a Bottle. Basically they redid the song, and it's on like some like cartoon called what was it? I forget exactly what the name of the cartoon is, but it's basically like they redid it, and they're like shaking their hips and stuff, and it's supposed to be cool, and it's acceptable. And I seen her doing it. I was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Where you learn that from?" And she was like, "It was a show." And I seen the show that she was talking about, and it's just like, wow, like it's getting horrible. So what you're doing, man, is gonna be something huge for fathers like me, because I have 2 daughters,
Yeah.
And but I mean, not just for daughters, but for sons too, like men too. There's a lot of discrimination with women in music and in movies and everything. So, man, like I'm so happy that she brought me on the panel today to talk about this, because this is awesome. We was going over this not too long ago, and I'm getting together all the music and the people that's going to be involved, because it's gonna take basically the whole community to launch this, because like you said, one person or 2 people, it just wouldn't work. The numbers aren't there, and there's way too many people being negative, and we have to have as many people being positive as negative to take this over. I think that where we're going in the future is a very positive one, and definitely will be contributing as much as I can to this whole community.
Awesome.
I put all my energy into it, man, and I'm here for you if you ever need help. I'm pretty sure Karen's there for you, and that's what it's doing.
Aaron's whole project is sort of to do with spirituality. It's got schooling, it's got Flat Earth TV, it's even got a section with NASA in it.
Oh my God. That's awesome, man. People need to raise their consciousness. It's like, it's probably one of the most important things to do right now.
Absolutely. Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I think it's the number one thing to do, right? It's like the new fad, right? It's to raise your consciousness.
That's the thing about it being a fad, though. Like, we got to watch out, guys. Like, there's a lot of guys out there, like the Joe Rogans, the Russell Brands, the
right.
Harrys, that's latching on to this idea only in order to. Well, I feel like I'm not them. I don't know, but I feel like it's only to once the change happens and consciousness shifts. I think there's going to be a lot of people still kind of like trying to attach on to Hollywood stars as an influence, and they're using them to kind of promote that positivity, but it's really just another means to like attach to the remainder of the masses that are still around while everyone's conscious again. So I don't really trust those people, especially like the Alex Joneses and everything. Like, so we need change, man. Radio shows, new movies.
Yeah, I mean, those things have all sort of gone mainstream because the mainstream is owned by these same powers. And so that's, again, like, we solved this problem. We solve it by really just decentralizing everything. This is what I've been coming to see. My mind is getting blown lately because I've been diving into all these technologies, and so you have to forgive me if I geek out a little hard in this one, but I've been working on a lot of software projects that I really see how easy this is going to be, actually, to create a network, to create a sort of like collective database that can't be changed, that can't be controlled. It's not centralized, and that will enable us to have communications that's encrypted. So now you don't have central authority like Google or anyone listening on our every word. And then to have
a new internet, like a new internet.
Oh yeah, basically a new internet. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And it's already here. It's already here, and so it's not like I need to go and build all this stuff myself. I'm just using what's just now coming onto the scene. There's a lot of blockchain technologies that are really going to help to do this. There's just the peer-to-peer kind of thing. We can do all of this. We can do it all to a point. Like, I guess what I'm seeing now is that essentially we just start with our own network, our own group. We have this group. There's other groups that basically we can all come together on one network. And let's just say it's 100, 200 people. And so there we go. We got a beginning, right? We have a network, and we have all of our content and posting and commenting, and even our sort of wiki, where we can refine and develop things over time. And so we can come up with all the experiments and all of the evidence against, let's say, NASA, for example, or any other political organization that's been naughty. And then we can also use this to publish our own creative works, whether it's a book, artwork, or a film or music. Any of those and all of those can be distributed through these models. We could even set it up where, some of it's, you can make it free if you want, or you can sort of charge for it. But the nice thing here is that you get paid. You can get paid directly. It doesn't have to go through Google. There doesn't have to be any advertising, and we can really make it so that we will remove all the middlemen out of the entire publishing media world, along with every other world. There's infrastructure that needs to be in place that is decentralized. So, for example, how do we all get our food? Well, technically, we all get our food from logistics and supply chain, working with farmers. You have truckers that work with farmers that get the food to the grocery stores. Well, that's a whole process. It's I wouldn't say, I mean, it is sort of centralized right now because you have the big grocery stores that own most of the business, and that are paying everyone else. But at the same time, that's something that we need to have. We need to have on our own network. So just think about that as far as people being able to deliver things within our own network. People being able to travel places, carpooling, or even I'm actually working on this project that I probably shouldn't say too much just at this point, but it's coming out in February, and it's called Ethereum, and it's basically our own airline, and it's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to basically enable us to, not have to deal with TSA, not have to worry about like a lot of things, and the tickets situation will all be built into this sort of personal identity technology. So now, you don't even have to show your ID or anything like that. And so, that's one example where we're using this technology. We're kind of leveraging what's out there now, and then we'll be able to use it within our network. And it'll be like we'll add on functionalities over time, and eventually this will be like the new internet, the new social network, the new media outlets, where now here's where everything is published to. Here's where everyone gets paid for all of their work, because that's the biggest problem in my mind. I just see, I mean, I'm a software developer. I've been doing that for a while now, and and surprisingly, like I get way underpaid because in a lot of the projects I've done because I'm not the business developer, the sales guy, you know. I'm not the one that's really going out there and sort of shaking the trees, pulling out the money, and then I'm, you know, saying, well, I think I should get this much. You know, that's a lot of these guys, these business developers. They do all that kind of stuff. And where's their value, really? You know, they're just hassling people, and they're just, you know, trying to like get them to spend money, whatever. And sure, I guess at this point in society, they're valuable, but are they really more valuable than the software developers that know how to? They've had to learn these technologies and had to actually figure out how to build these certain things. You know, that's a skill that, I mean, I guess sales is a skill as well, and I don't have a problem with the sales, you know, people who do sales. It's just that, you know, on the scale of equality, what's more valuable to like a company, you know? And currently in society, the sales is more valuable. That's why they get paid more. But really, the society should be such that the ones who are doing the work, especially the creative work, but even just work, they should get paid the most. And the ones who are just going around selling things, well, they should get paid for that too. But you know, it should all be balanced. And so, you know, we're all people, and various people have more skills and less skills, more experience and less experience, and that should really dictate kind of how much values that someone is worth. But then, if you create some piece of content, music, an album, whatever it is, and just so many people love it, well, then should you be getting all that value, or shouldn't your band be getting all that value?
Right. And I want to ask a question. I know you said that there was a lot of money to be made, and with the new world that you want to build, basically. Now, the currency, would it be one that you would create at your own, or would we be using the currency that's current, or Bitcoin, or what is your vision for that?
That is Ironcoin. I've been working on this. I've been talking about this. It's been out for about a month or so, and that's basically it's been evolving. But yes, I'm creating my own currency now. I love Bitcoin and Ethereum and a lot of these cryptocurrencies. I love the idea, the principles behind them. Decentralized currency, yeah, I think that's absolutely the future. Fiat, USD, Euro, all that kind of stuff. No, that's nonsense. It's all centralized banksters trying to, you know, extort the society, the entire rest of the society. How's that fair in any way?
You know? I disagree with Bitcoin only for the simple fact that it's being launched on a mass level, and every time you have that, it kind of rings bells. That's one of the reasons why I asked, because you know, a lot of times on my channel we talk about going back to the bartering systems and stuff like that. You know, to get rid of, because when people want to purchase certain things, like, you know, I want to know, are you thinking about coexisting in a world like America, like within America, or like a whole nother like land of your own? Like because I'm only questioning, and I'm not questioning to challenge you. I really want to try to understand. Would it be something where people would be able to live amongst and maybe contribute to both societies at the same time, type of thing, or is it like you're either here or there? Like, what is it going to be like for the people who are kind of like gray? You know what I mean? Like they don't know what they want to do.
Absolutely, and thank you for asking, because these are important questions. First of all, I'll say
hey, Aaron, can I just say something? There is this bit of a sort of unsureness, isn't there, on this Bitcoin, just...
Yeah, of course there is. I'm not, I mean, yeah, I've been addressing this for a bit, so, you know, I'm more than happy to talk about it and hopefully address everyone's concerns. So first of all, I'd say in terms of like what I'm building, it's definitely more of a both kind of solution where, you know, it's sort of in the world but not of it, or it's you know, there'll be intentional communities that could exist outside of the physical city, but at the same time they will be a part of society and involved and participating very actively in society. as well as, we can live in cities too and still be a part of this network and still be participating in the current society. Because a lot of this light technology is transitional. Because, how do we, okay, so we're all one, right? We know that. How do we get there? So we were all one, and now we're all individuals. And then how do we go back to, I guess it's over here, how do we go back to being all one? And it doesn't just happen overnight. Maybe, a good ayahuasca journey, and it could happen in an evening, but then you come back and you realize, oh, there's this whole process that needs to be undergone that will transition us, myself, into the oneness for eternal bliss, and the collective into the eternal oneness, right? It's not just a hop over. We have to get there. And so how do we get there? And that's really the question I've been asking for this entire time. That this has been the vision. It has been, okay, so we have a transition to undergo. How do we do it? What does that look like? And I know a lot of people have seen, we've all been traumatized by money. Okay. We used to barter, and that worked, right? For the most part. I'm sure there was conflicts. Hopefully they got resolved. But now, we've had money. We've had the fiat, the centralized currencies. We've had those for, I don't know, probably off and on for hundreds of years. And we're all just, that is the beast. That has been really society's downfall. It's been the money, and really it's the cities themselves, actually, bringing people into cities away from their self-sustaining farms, where everyone was self-reliant and able to provide everything they needed for themselves. And so, therefore, why would they need money? Why would they need a dollar? Would they need something from someone else? They just bartered it, right? And that works, and that could still work, and it does still work. There's people who are doing it, but at the same time, this was one of their greatest strategies. Actually, was to pull us into the cities. So now we lost those skills. We became dependent on the city, or on the jobs, or on the mode of.
We've become dependent on them, haven't we?
I just want to confirm what you just said, because that's very true. My grandfather had 88 acres of land out in Deer Park, Alabama. Okay, knew how to farm. They had everything. I still have family there. He moved up to Boston, married my grandmother, had my aunts and uncles and my dad, and that's it. Now we're all from Boston, and no one's going back down to Alabama to go and raise farm. You know what I mean? Like, so you're very spot on with that. I just want to confirm that and let everyone know that is real. And it really did happen. And it happened to my family. It happened to me. I should be out farming in Alabama.
You know how they did it, for instance? When I was really young, I went and did a bit of thumbing around Europe. And I met this Irish lorry driver, and he was driving down to somewhere like Spain to pick chips up. Ireland's potato country. It was cheaper for them to buy the chips from Spain. And so they do things like that with the business. Then, of course, the jobs, right? We used to live in these communities, even in the Second World War. My mum talks about her aunties sharing while one was having to work, and they'd look after the children. But now they've made jobs where they're miles away. Or, like Aaron says, instead of us living in communities in the country and it's all connected, we're sort of put into apartment blocks in cities, concrete cities. And, well, if you listen to him, what he's saying is, we're building it. They're not telling you, but all you're making is a prison. And you've built your own prison.
Yeah, that's what
So, yeah, all that's going on. Can I just say that Josh has joined us? Hello, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? How's it going, Karen?
We're just talking about.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah, you know Jane, you know Aaron, you know Yudit. You actually know Aaron, don't you? You actually met Aaron.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Aaron, Any idea when the next meetup over this way is going to be?
Just scheduled it yesterday. It's going to be February 3rd, I think. I do believe.
Morning.
Awesome. You know what?
Uh-huh.
Santa Monica or like Orange County, Irvine one?
It's actually going to be in Marina Del Rey this time. So check it out on meetup.com/itsflat.
Isn't Marina Del Rey like past Santa Monica or whatever?
Yeah, it's further south of Santa Monica. Not too much though. It's a pretty much Santa Monica.
And there's proof, everybody, that they're meeting up, and they've met each other before.
No, this was all staged. We planned on having that conversation. Oh, did I just say that? No, yeah, we've done a bunch of meetups. Meetup.com/itsflat. LA meetup, yeah, and there's a bunch of people out here who all believe the Earth is flat for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, maybe because it is. Oh, but so
it's
yes.
good to see things are in the moving and the moment and the building and everything. Yeah, and sorry, just it's sorry, my daughter's just turned up. She's standing next to me. Yeah, and you meet quite often then, Aaron?
Yeah, about once a month. As long as I can afford the time. Been busy lately, but yeah, we try to meet up at least once a month, I'd say. It's been good. It's been really good. You know, we've had a couple that were parts of documentaries, and some of that hasn't come out yet. Actually, one of them is supposed to come out this month, January. It's supposed to be a big. It's going to be really good, I think. I saw the draft of it, and the draft was amazing. So, Control Forever is the name of the group that's been doing this. And they're kind of trying to be like a more fringe Vice magazine. And so I think they're going to do a good job. That was our whole meetup. Isn't that video coming out soon? And we've done a couple other things. Something that'll come out on Netflix eventually this year. I think 2 things that'll come out on Netflix this year. And then I've actually got my documentary. I don't know. It's going to come out at some point. They're not done making it yet, though. I still got things I'm doing, so we'll see. And then,
can I just say that I was telling James about your project the other day when he came on, because he came on and had a hangout, because I say he's quite a new channel. And yeah, he was talking about the love. Remember what I was saying to you just when we came on the hangout? This is the guy I was telling you about.
Sure, yeah.
And if you just explain your concept, James, so that Aaron can hear it anyway.
I'm sorry?
Your concept yourself, because obviously you've got this channel which you want to obviously grow and so forth. But what's this concept? Because I was trying to explain it to Aaron about your love concept.
What the build is? The build is basically based upon love and spreading that love. And oh, did you disappear? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, the build is basically about there you go. The build is basically a platform for people like you, everyday average people, to come and speak their truth and try to get a better understanding of truth at the same time. A lot of these places that you go to try to find proof, they debate, for whatever reason, but we try not to do that. We try to focus on the facts over at the build and spread love, because really love is all you need. There's been a lot of hate spread, and obviously we know that that's the center of the negativity world of these elite. And I feel like we're trying to change the entire narrative, because there's a lot of digging to do for information. And along with that digging comes the divide and conquer aspect, because everyone's digging for facts, trying to fact check each other. Yet we're all forgetting to answer the real questions, and that's how can we be free mentally, spiritually, and quite in fact physically too, from this entire nation. And we got to get to start the talking and really start the talking. I invite Globe, people who believe in the Globe model, onto the channel, and for a really conservative conversation. come with class, come with love, and we got to spread the unity, man. There's a lot of people that forget that's in the flat earth community that there's a spirituality aspect to it. And when you put that into perspective, you can then show more love, because you got to understand people are at different levels of consciousness. And when people are at different levels of consciousness, they're not always going to understand what you got to say or what you got to present, because it's shocking to them. They talk about cognitive dissonance or whatever. Like, I believe in that to an extent, because I understand people get shocked with evidence and everything, but I've been doing study for a long time, and for me, it's just like, if you're diving into this stuff, you shouldn't really get that, because you got to kind of expect. So I think that that's a excuse for people. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, people need to really understand, man, that we have choices to make, and you're either gonna hate the next person or you're gonna love the next person. You got to really distinguish what's going on here with these people who call themselves the elite or whatever. We got to really understand that this is the battle. These are the enemies. We are not the enemy. We're fighting against each other over concepts that we really have no idea about. Like, yeah, the earth could be flat. It looks flat, seems flat, but it could not be flat. So who really, really, truly knows? Unless we all get up there with some hot air balloons and map it ourselves with our own eyes and our own pencils, then we could really, truly know. But everyone needs to start to understand that this is not a sporting arena where you're team globe and I'm team flat, and we're just gonna bust each other over the head because one team won and the other one didn't. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same concept. That's the reason why they created sports in the first place, and they allow this stuff to happen because they want
trying to see if you bring as many people with you as possible. Both sides. You're just trying to put out that you're just as many people as possible to come on this journey or listen and work together, as many as possible. Good, on the flat Earth side and the globe side.
Yeah, we need everybody to come together. We need people to understand that it's not about the Earth model. It's not about where we live. It's about who we are inside and how we can be free from the inside out. We can't sit here and fight about things that we really absolutely don't, because all the information that's out there, we study it. You don't ever learn anything internally. Only thing you learn internally is instincts, like how to walk and talk and eat and use the bathroom. But you never learn like facts or information on your own. You always have to go either learn from someone else or do your own study and research, and that's also learning from someone else. So you got to understand that, like, we start to love each other. We start to understand that maybe whatever we're researching really is not what we should be researching. We should be looking at each other for answers of who we are, not look at a book to find out who we are, because we can hug each other. We can hold each other's hands. We can tell each other, I love you. Research can't do that for you. And research isn't going to be it's like a bullet, and bullets don't have any names, so doesn't research. And I think that even if we're looking up the right research, it doesn't benefit the globists, because they're still in the lower part of the consciousness. We got to be the bigger person, know that it's flat, whatever it seems flat, and then just let them, eventually come to terms with reality, but still love them, spread that love instead of going on debate and, trying to prove them wrong because you got the facts and everything like that. It's not about that. It's about bringing everyone together so we can leave the whole idea of the divide and conquer aspect in the first place, so we can come together and actually love each other like how it's supposed to be, how nature intends it to be. When you see a little boy in the park, a little black boy in the park and a little white boy in the park playing together, and their parents go and they shove them, take them away from that situation, that's when it starts, divide and conquer aspect. You know what I'm saying? Naturally, we're all supposed to love each other and play with each other and, intermingle, so you can't stray away from nature. And I feel like that's what's going on, the denaturalization of everything with the GMOs, with the HARP, controlling weather. They're also controlling the social constraints of the people. It's just ridiculous already. And I feel like, it's time to bring that love back. It's time to, because that's what they've done. They've taken the innocence out of children,
Right.
And it's just, when you think about a kid, right? How happy are you feeling when you're around that child, you know? And now it's just like they're making that child less desirable to be around because, like, you know, like they're making them freaking horrible, man. They're putting indoctrinating them with all this nasty filth. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I've seen little kids like, okay, where I live right next to a junior high school, right? And kids walk back and forth from school in the morning and afternoon. And all you hear is F this, F that, but. And even when I was a little kid, that's how it was. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the way it should be, man. You know what I mean? And I don't want that for my daughter. I can't even imagine her walking on the way home from school and just swearing up a storm and I don't even know about it. You know, and it's all because of the movies, the TV shows, Netflix. You know, everything's accessible. There's no really parental guard or anything. And they've done such a bad job with the last generation. I mean, I know there's parents out there right now with 4 or 5-year-olds that just are just like 4 or 5-year-olds themselves, you know, and it's just horrible, you know. What you're doing with Project Loomis is great, man, and I definitely think that that's something that we all need, man. We need a change, some type of change, and it starts with projects like Project Loomis, you know, and people need to realize you need to get on board with this and support it 100%, 1,000,000%. You know, we need all the people we can to come together. Globe, people who believe in the globe, people who believe in the Earth's flat, people who believe that we're in a hologram. Anybody who's just like religious, if you believe in Buddha, Allah, Jesus Christ, we need you too.
James,
What's up?
do you think that Aaron can come and explain it on your channel?
Anytime. The build is actually your show, Aaron.
Sorry, Aaron, asking in front of you, but would you like to go and explain it on
Yeah, that'd be great.
James's channel as well?
There you go. Set that up.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man.
Networking.
Yeah, I appreciate that because we got a lot to offer, and you know, if we can all, you know, just stick together. Like I said, we need all people from all walks of life in order to make this happen because that's what they created. They created different walks of life, different time zones. Like we can't even like think about it, like how difficult it is to even get on one of these panels because of the time zones. Like we're not even in sync.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we need to get on point, like, and we will, and it's happening. And you know,
It's more confusing for you. The UK is 1 time zone, but America's what, 4?
No, 3. There's Eastern,
3.
Central, and Western.
That's why.
Pacific.
There's 4. You forgot Mountain, bro.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry.
4. Can I just say that Matthew's joined? Hi, Matthew.
Hey, Matt.
He's listening in for a moment. Carry on then. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just going to listen. Every time I start talking, I usually don't shut up. So I'm just going to enjoy this one, guys.
Thank you, Matthew. Carry on then, James. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, yeah, the networking is really, really important. We need all walks of life to make this happen because that's going to be the kicker. They've divided us so many times. So for us to come together in front of their face, all walks of life, like we're not doing this anymore. We're not fighting against each other.
Can I just say that, James? That I mean, we're all talking. We're a channel that talks. It's all about talking. But Aaron is someone who's doing something like for the future.
Right. Yeah, I know, and I appreciate that, and I think that that's what we should be representing and supporting fully. You know, because that's what it is. It's about the future. We do a lot of debating, we do a lot of talking, but there's no true planning for the future. You know, there's a lot of like theories and speculations, but you know, no real planning, and that's what he's bringing to the table. That's what we need. So, you know, I appreciate it.
Yeah, really, a lot of this is just about planning. It's about organization. You know, recognizing that one of our biggest weaknesses is that we're disorganized. You know, and where do we organize that? Like, I think one of the first things that I really had to admit to myself, and I think we should all just look at, evaluate, is that there are evil forces at work here. You can call them whatever you want, it doesn't matter, and it's not even important what they are, who they are at this point. What's important is that we acknowledge that they're there, and that we so we have to respond to that. You know, we don't want to react to it. We don't want to just run around freaking out because there's evil forces at work and then, you know, eternal damnation and fire and brimstone. No, you know, because that's what they want. That's how they operate. Their main thing has been divide and conquer, yes, as well as, and their main strategy of this is to implant fear in us. You know, so fear is their tool that they've used in every single area of our lives. They have used fear.
And you know what?
It's contained.
Yeah, and you know what? I think we as flat earthers are kind of afraid too, because if you think about it, each and every like walk of life is trying to get everybody else to believe in what they believe. And I feel like as flat earthers, we're afraid to let someone be who they are. I mean, like with these debates, man, like we really got to be the bigger person, because it's not about that's the whole trick, you know.
See, but here's this is part of their trick, is that, I mean, who are some of these people, right? Who are they? Where they come from? How they come onto the scene like that? Know all this stuff already? Be so confident in it? I'll tell you, it took me like a year of pretty active research before I was even ready to go on camera to say that, you know, this is what I thought, and and it wasn't like this little thing. It was like, for me, it was this huge thing, especially because I studied physics originally in college. That, like, you know, I was indoctrinated into that system. You know, I did believe that we were on a spinning ball, and I thought we kind of had everything figured out. And so for me to come on and, like, you know, I was more similar to what's his name, Brian Mullen. You know, he came on and he was skeptical. He was looking into this, but that's right. But then you have some other people that just kind of come on, boom, they know it all. They got books. They're, you know, or just whatever. They've got a spiel. They've got an act, and a lot of them are going to be like, what's their motivation? You know, is it to share this truth with the world? Are they maybe some sort of controlled disclosure? I don't think it's unreasonable to assume at all that if this is true, which it probably is, that the Earth is flat and they've been lying to us, then they're also probably controlling this disclosure in any way that they possibly can. So that means some of the people that we see on YouTube channels are going to be that. You know, I'm not saying who, because I don't want to start any drama, and we don't need any drama, because that's part of the divide and conquer. That's part of their strategy. You know, they're going to insert certain people who are going to incite this little conflict about, oh, the shape is this, oh, the shape is this. You know, and even if they don't even know what they're doing, they're still causing this division within our community, which is irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. The fact is, we've been lied to about what you know, we were raised with an educational system that made fundamental assumptions that are not true, and that's a fact, right? Because we can go back and we can look. It doesn't matter the shape of the Earth. We were not told that you know, the Michelson-Morley experiment showed there was no movement of the Earth.
Right.
We were not told that when we grew up. So that was withheld from us. Now that's extremely vital information that should have been offered to us immediately, and we should have been doing that experiment time and time again. But instead, they just, you know, shelved it, came up with the special theory of relativity, and just confused everyone, so that no one could really challenge. And then in the physics world, for example, or in the science world, they make it an ego thing about, you know, you're not gonna challenge your authorities or your peers, because then you're gonna look stupid. You were an astrophysicist and you came out and you said the Earth is flat. Ha 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 ha! Yeah, and you got fired, and then just everyone makes fun of you for the rest of your career, if you have a career left. You know, it's all set up to kind of keep us in these containers of fear, so that we're not going to go beyond those confines and start even looking at things beyond it, right? And that has manifested in every single area, and that's what I'm really coming here. Like, that's the work that I'm doing. I've already done sort of the work of sort of getting to know my own ego, right? And getting to know its tricks, getting to know how it tricks me and how I fall for it sometimes, but I'm getting much, much better not falling for the tricks of my own ego, to the point where now I can stand here and say, hey guys, let's all check our egos at the door and let's all come together and work together. Right. Because that's our two greatest powers right now, are to not get lost in fear and to not get lost in division, or to say that positively, to stand up as ourselves in courage of knowing who we actually are as divine beings, and then coming together as those divine beings, working together, choosing to work together in all circumstance. Because as we do that, they have no power over us. You know, they have no power because their only power comes from that fear and from that division. They gave us different languages. They gave us different countries, and now they give us different football teams. And it's just like this constant division, and now it's always competition. And now capitalism is basically just pitting every single company, against each other, rather than any of us trying to learn to work together to create, let's create the best operating system, rather than, I have all these separate ones that are all competing and all charging us money that they shouldn't even be charging us. You know, well, I told you I was going to go geek on this rant, but
yeah, it's even worse than that, though, isn't it, Aaron? Because all they're really doing is turning everybody against each other, and we're all victims. It's not just one colour or one country; it's all of us. Each way, there's an attack going on and a division going on, and they're making things happen, and they're lying to us, and they're making generations not like generations of people. And when you look at it, these are all the wise people.
You guys, I have a question. I have a real serious, deep question. This may be personal, but are we wrong for choosing to promote that the earth is flat? Is that the wrong argument to be happening? Because think about it. You say the earth is flat, all right. And we all know that once you believe in it, other doors open. And you start to learn more and more. But should we be promoting that, NASA isn't real, or the argument that the earth is flat doesn't really truly explain to a person that isn't really that quite smart that there's more to it than the earth is flat. They're just thinking about the earth being flat.
I'll jump
Jump
in on this one real quick.
Huh?
Sorry, man.
So I mean, by us saying the earth is flat, is that kind of irresponsible of us? Because we know that that's just adhering to the.
That's just letting you know the shape of the battleground, man.
No, I know that.
That's all that is.
What I'm saying is, if we know this, right, and we have an absolute knowing, and we believe so, but it's not about that. Are we wrong for promoting the earth is flat? Should we be promoting the fact that we're being lied to? You know what I'm saying? Because is that the trick though? You know what I mean? Is it the trick of giving you the truth? Is that the reason why you get the truth? Is because they want you to promote the truth, because they want people to be opposed to you, instead of you promoting what they're doing? You know what I'm saying? Obviously we know because we're flat earthers, but those who are still thinking that the earth is a globe obviously doesn't know the rest of the stuff that we know. So, it's just a personal question. I'm just thinking about it. I'm not trying to challenge anyone. It's just for me as a responsibility thing. I think that, we need to stop talking about the earth is flat and start talking about, all the lies that was being told to us. And you know what I'm saying? Because that's what ends up happening in these conversations anyway. We start off with the world being a globe or be flat, then we start to get into all this other stuff. So what's really more important, the Earth model or the meat and potatoes of it? You know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm asking. It's just a thought that literally randomly just came to my thought as we was just talking. I don't know. I could be wrong.
In my opinion, once you find that the earth is flat, and once you get that fact straight, everything after that kind of falls into place. So this flat, that to me is kind of like opening the door. If you just say, hey, man, you're being lied to, they're going to look at you and be like, well, duh, that's politicians. That's what they do. That's what the world does. They lie so that way it's personal gain. That's life. You got to get over it, But if you tell them, hey, well, the earth is flat, and they realize the intensity of the lie and how big of a lie it really is, then they start questioning. They're like, okay, so if a lie like the earth is flat, and once they're able to come to the fact that they really know that it's the truth too, and once they realize that, they're like, next, all of a sudden dominoes start falling for themselves. We don't have to push anymore. We don't have to say anything else. The dominoes fall themselves, because you're like, if that big of a lie came out and the earth is flat, maybe some of this other stuff that I've been hearing about actually has some kind of solidity to it. Start looking into that. Oh, okay, vaccines. Holy crap, maybe that's really rude. That's not very good. Chemtrails. Wow, okay, so that's really not good either too, man. The elites and the whole, Luciferian project and the Illuminati and all that. You start getting, dominoes start falling on their own once you
Right.
realize the massive lie itself. So if you just say, hey man, you're being lied to, it's kind of like a duh, but hey man, the earth is flat. Okay, convince me how is it flat? Well, here's the facts. Holy crap, it's flat. Now the first thing you said that I'm being lied to and it's flat. Well, now what else am I being lied to about? They start asking themselves questions instead of you having to do it for them.
So what do you do about the empathy part? Like, what do you do for the person who just doesn't get it? You know, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not really speaking on people like us.
That's
Like,
okay. We're not here to force this idea on anybody. We're not here to force our truth on anybody. If they don't want the truth, then that's fine. Let them live their life in a comfortable ignorance. That's why they say ignorance is bliss.
so
Because
what's
people
going
are
to
just
happen?
happy when they don't understand what's going on. So if they don't want their life disrupted about all this and they're comfortable, then that's perfectly fine. But to those who want to make a difference, to those who do care, to those who are sick and tired of this, they just don't know what to do and what next step to take. Whereas when you join this kind of cause, now you have people that think alike with you and you could actually get stuff off your chest and learn more.
Right. But the thing is, like, the point is that they are victims too. And if you want to be empathetic and you want to call yourself a human being, you have to put that into perspective. You can't just forget about them and just say, well, because they don't get it, you know, let them basically go out for their own. Like, you're throwing them to the wolves. And I feel like all of us are in this pickle here. You know what I'm saying?
Some people prefer
we are
that
in
kind
this
of state,
together.
though.
We are in
I
this
mean,
together, but you cannot make everybody believe what around what you think.
what I'm
Some
saying,
people truly do prefer
That's
that
what
lifestyle. There are the people out there that they don't want to live their own lives. They don't want that because when they're forced to do that kind of thing, they don't know how to make those decisions on their own. They need they need a leader, basically. They need somebody to point and say jump and say go and say what to do because that's how they were raised their whole lives and that's what they're comfortable with. And when you take them out of this, it's mental power. It's based off of perspective, your own personal mental power and perspective, how you were raised. If you're mentally strong enough and your perspective is strong enough in order to understand this and take this and move on with it, excellent. But if you just don't have that mental capacity in order to take in the fact that your entire life is a lie and that everything around you is just BS and lies on top of lies on top of lies, and you don't know where the truth is, because when you think you found a truth, you realize that even that's kind of sugar coated too. So you keep going further and further and further, and the next thing you know, you're into this hole that you can't get yourself out of, because once you open this up, it's like you don't look at the world the same ever again. I don't watch movies the same ever again. I don't look at Hollywood people the same. I used to have idols in Hollywood. Man, this guy is amazing. All the movies he plays in, he's always this great, courageous, amazing person. Da da da, this and that. But let's get into their personal lives and see what they really are about and why they get the money they get and why they're so rich for just doing nothing but being basic jesters in the king's court. You know, making everybody laugh, yet they're making more money than those that lay down their life. Let the people that, you know, they don't have that capacity. If that's just the life that they're there to live, that's fine, you know. But there's those like us that are here to make a difference and to shout out what we believe and what we see, so that way, for those that are able to understand and do have that mental capacity, they can make the next move. And that those that need the leaders, that need the followers, they follow those like us. So instead of us just trying to force these ideas on everybody else to be like, hey, either get this or you're, you know, I don't know what to tell you, or you're just done, and da da da. That's pretty much like elites, and that's pretty much the religious thing is like, hey, you either believe this or you can't be in my church because I can't do nothing for you. I don't
so
want to be
is that
that
my
guy. It's like,
argument?
hey man, you either understand. If you don't, okay, come back, keep looking at my stuff, keep watching. If you're curious, great. If you're not, go back to flipping burgers and, you know, getting that 2-week paycheck and, you know, working your thing. And who cares about free energy? If you like paying electric bill, pay your electric bill. Then don't get free energy. If you like doing this, then do that. Whatever.
Yeah, I highly disagree. I don't think that I don't think that that's the point I was trying to make at all. I think the point I was trying to make was that, you know, instead of promoting that the earth was flat, maybe just like, you know, promote you know, everything else behind it, and then like eventually it'll get to that point. I think that, you know, we talk about cognitive dissonance and stuff like that. I really don't believe in it, but if it is true, you know, it's a big one. You know what I mean? And I think you got
James,
to.
I brought this up the other day, didn't I? I said I'm not sure whether a lot of us have already woken up, because, and you said, well, maybe we'll be coming waves. And, you know, like 2016, not for everyone, because like Aaron has said that he has been like this since he was a child. I think I knew as a child as well. Nothing, you know, things hadn't left me from a child. But it just seems 2016 was a big wake up, and last year wasn't quite such a big wake up. So,
Right. Yeah.
but
I
the
feel
point
like-
was that Aaron has his project, which is a way forward.
Right.
Hey, hello, Jay.
Hello.
Aaron's been explaining his project, and then Matthew and obviously the build, James, are here, which you met James the other day, and you obviously know Matthew, and this is Aaron Jay. And the conversation's just gone a bit to, James was thinking, are we looking at this the wrong way? Are we going on about flat earth when really we're trying to include everybody? But a lot of people have found more of the mistrusts through going to flat earth, because then you realize that one thing leads to another. We all had a big inkling with 9/11. But like,
Right.
Aaron's got a project. Aaron, could you just explain it just a little bit to Jay? Because obviously he hasn't heard it. He's a new panel member.
Yeah, the basic idea is Project Lumen, and the basic idea is initiatives that are around creating a better world, creating a better society, and the transitional technologies for how we get from where we are now to where we want to go. And so it's kind of like a project management in a way, where we're just going to manage these projects, these various initiatives, you know, taking the steps necessary all the way to the finish line, where, you know, we have we have media and content that's in alignment with our higher selves and our true selves, and the good of all. And it's, you know, positive imagery that's positive creation. You know, business even can be conducted in ways that is in alignment with the collective, intentional communities. What else? You know, just all kinds of things. A lot of various technologies that'll be coming from this, and a lot of it's just kind of the result of us working together, rather than a bunch of silos, a bunch of competing factions that are all trying to do the same thing, or maybe similar things. You know, we come together and we just combine forces, and it's coming along. It's you know, I've been just kind of keeping the updated status as I go on this site and many others. I have projectlumen.org, which has some content, not a whole lot at this point, but getting there. And yeah, that's kind of the basic thing. I wanted to say to what you were talking about, James, as far as, you know, is this the thing we should be, is flat Earth really what we should be talking about? Or and I see what you're saying, and I've definitely gone through that. I went through that already. I feel like I haven't really even cared about flat Earth for, I don't know, 3 years now. Even though I started the meetup only like 2.5 years ago or so, but like, you know, that was so I could meet people. Like, I wanted to meet fellow, you know, people who were more awake. It really has to do more with, you might say, levels of consciousness, and people go through cycles with it. And, you know, it's certainly not our job to wake people up to anything. It's this realm's job. Ultimately, that's what it does. It wakes us up, and we're here to wake up. And that's pretty much the only reason we're here, technically. So I think our group, a lot of us, have come here more specifically during these times to address the situations that are going on in society. You know, because it's not great, it's not good, it's not what we want, and so that needs to be fixed. I don't see it as bleak at all. I see it as very positive. I think everything will change much faster than anyone realizes, and change for the better. And I actually don't see, I think we've gotten over the hump now. 2018 is basically where we travel over the hump. And now we're sort of progressing on to a whole new mode of being as a society. And it's happening at a very subtle level. It's like percolating right now, but it's happening. And so we don't really have to do anything. Like, no one has to do anything, right? So if you want to tell people the Earth is flat, then that's your prerogative. It doesn't matter. If you have a specific opinion about what shape it is, well, then I would ask you, how do you know that? Because if you're really a flat earther, that means that you had to come to the realization that you don't know what you thought you knew. So now how is it that you, unlike all these other people who have been studying flat earth and the model and all this for years, how, we don't know, and we'll admit that we don't know. We have theories, speculations. How do you know that it is this shape and not this shape? That's irrelevant. And I think anyone who starts coming out with like map controversy or model controversy or just making it a big deal, they're probably some sort of that controlled disclosure I'm talking about. They're trying to incite it. They're trying to percolate people because it doesn't matter. It's not what's important. What's important is that people wake up and realize that we've all been living in a dream within this dream.
Right.
It's like this is all a dream. It is a dream. It's a construct that we've created with our own consciousness. And that's the reality of it. And that's how we're all one, because we're all just like looking at mirrors all the time. However, we've also gotten in a deeper dream where now we're all just like walking around, we're zombies, and that's why the whole zombie thing is a fad even, is because people are obsessed with zombies. They were trained to be obsessed with zombies because they are zombies, because we're just going on these hamster wheels without really an individual thought of our own, and just doing what we're told to do for entire lifespans. And that is a massive waste. It's a massive injustice from my perspective. But whose fault is it really? Who should take responsibility for that? Now, should it be the controlling elite who imposed this control? Well, yeah, they should take some responsibility. Are they going to? Probably not. So then should it be the ones who are asleep that should take that responsibility? Well, yeah, they should, but are they going to? Well, probably not, unless someone like us comes along and just whoosh, slaps them across the face and says, hey, the earth is flat, or hey, 9/11 was an inside job, or whatever, needs to shake them up in order to snap them out of their hamster wheel. And now they just start rolling and they start realizing that things were not what they thought they were. And it's going to be uncomfortable at first, but then they'll get over it. And then they'll start, oh, the earth is flat. Oh, we've been lied to. And they'll start going down that train. And then they'll get over that too. And they'll be like, oh, so what more is there to it? And that's what I'm really talking about here. Is there is more to it. There is a greater deception than flat earth. And that is our divinity. We are divine beings. We have all the power in all the universe, all existence, right here. Each one of us has that. So why aren't we using it? Because we've been trained not to. We've been conditioned not to. And so that's really the truth that is going to be bubbling up here. And once we start seeing some of these like super psychics of China or whatever, these kids that just, they're born and they're not repressed and they're not plugged, they don't have the cork in their bottle, and so they're able to just shoot sparks out of their fingers or manifest money or flowers right there. And this is already happening. This has been happening. If people haven't noticed, look up China's super psychics. This has been going on for decades now, and it's been covered up and hidden, but lo and behold, we are supernatural. You might think, if you could really realize your true power, you would realize you're supernatural in that regard. And that's because we are the divine spark from which this entire existence does exist. And so, how does this work? How does this realm work? Well, it's however you want it to work. And over time, we've decided that we're on this plane, this construct. We decided there should be stars and planets and perhaps a moon, but it was our decision. And as we wake up, we do see this more and more. We remember. And it's also addressing like this whole concept of, where do we get information from? Like, do we read about it in books? Do we just listen to our authorities? And then what do we base our truth on? How do we come to that? Well, this is a whole, this is like critical thinking, but also there's a major component here is intuition. And as one develops their intuition, they're able to tap into greater and greater sources of direct knowledge. And this direct knowledge can actually, it can tell us things. It can tell us all kinds of things. We can know a lot of things with this direct knowledge. Now, can I prove it to you? Not necessarily. Could I teach you how to tap into this Knowledge yourself? Absolutely. And then would you come up with some of the same realizations I have? Absolutely. And would we agree on everything? Probably not. And that's because we're still interpreting. I'm interpreting, everyone's interpreting what they are receiving at an intuitive level. And so that's a skill, it's an art. And this is just like going with the flow. You have to learn how to go with the flow. It's a skill, it's an art. You have to learn how to listen to our inner guidance. That is an art. And this is, one thing I've come to see from all this is that, love is at the very core of all of this. Love, I think, is the binding force of all existence. I think it's what we observe as gravity is actually just love manifest. And that's, there's a certain tendency to want to return to the source. What is that tendency to want to return to the source? It's love. That's the force. The only reason love exists in this way is because we're separated from the source, seemingly. And so we're constantly in this path or this trajectory to return back to the source. And we each get our own journey. We each get our own path. And the kicker is that it's like all the same path. So we're all like, we get to experience everyone's path ultimately. And so we're just in this one little thread right now, thinking that this is all existence, when in reality it's just this little piece of it. And what we can do is we can choose to make the most of this little thread, right? And so that little thread becomes who we are in this earth realm during these times, and how we respond to these things happening. And part of that is educating yourself, not through books, not through authorities, but through inner research, through looking within, asking the self questions, and being quiet, listening for the answers. Tapping into that love, that connection within the heart, within the self, that then has, you don't need anything else, right? That's all you need. That is correct. And from that, then, what happens? We express, we share, we stand up as who we are, as divine beings, and we start saying things, and that's it. Or we start doing things, not just saying things, doing things, whatever. But do whatever comes to you, because we're all unique. We're, each a snowflake. We have our own experiences and our own perspectives and our own paths and our own things to offer the collective. And we each have a pretty amazing, unique gift to offer the rest of the collective. We just need to figure out what that is, and then really stand up in it and express it. Once we do that, so we don't have to force this on anyone. We don't even have to try to we don't have to try to do anything. We just come together. We just awaken within ourselves. We create things that are alternatives that will work better, be sustainable. They will be based in equality and this oneness. And as we do that, more and more people will join us, and eventually everyone will join us. And that's all. We don't even have to have the attitude of I'm trying to convince people the earth is flat, because that's not the right attitude, in my opinion. At this point, if you're so driven to do that, then go right ahead. If that's what you speaking your truth represents, but don't think of it like, oh, I know something that you don't, and so I'm going to sort of leverage this against you so that we'll have an argument, like a debate. No, I don't want to have a debate. This isn't up for debate. Just take a look. What do you see? Do you see a moving earth? Do you feel the movement? Do you see a curve? No, you don't. So let's start there and move on. But we don't need a debate, and because if we just debate, we'll just go endlessly.
Aaron, I can give you a good example. Shalom to everybody. A good example, I have my Nikon P900, and I'm going to take my old videos to the high school, very close to my house. And I want to show them those videos. I want them to see very close the moon, the sun, the stars, their life, their reality, where they live. And they have to see through their eyes the moon and You see, they're going to see how it's look like and what is its star. And through this, you can slowly teach them the truth. You see, when my grandson, 6 years old, I showed them the moon. So the first thing that he said, Grandma, where's the spaceship? You see, 6 years old, he already looking for the steps, a spaceship, and it's incredible. So imagine in the high school, the younger generation, they need to see. So it's a good start. It's a good start in the school. Yeah, to show them the reality. That's all. Show
Oh,
them,
thank
show
you,
them
Yudit.
that water is flat forever and ever. Yeah, and all the ocean
Yeah.
connect. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, when I was in school, trying to think, like they didn't have high resolution images or video of the moon that we looked at. No, like that was, you know, kind of hard to find until P900 came out. You know, like you couldn't really just find super high res of the moon, and you know, maybe it was. I'm sure it was available. Of course, it was available, but it wasn't something that was shown to us. You know, because then we would scrutinize. I mean, that
It's
was.
probably helped rather a lot, though, hasn't it, having that camera?
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
it can only see about, focuses up to about 25 miles, which is still quite a long way, isn't it? From here, it can look into 25 miles and be in focus. But then when you have to see that the whole moon's in focus in 25 miles.
Yeah, and the star, it's wave, it's vibration, it's not planet, it's they can see it through their eyes. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
like I notice a lot. You know, I live in LA and kind of in the city a little bit, and I see planets all the time. I see stars every night, unless it's cloudy. Uh, and then I think about it. I'm like, you know, you shouldn't be able to see those because the light pollution is so bad here. I should just see a bunch of gray up in the sky. You know, that's all I should see. And the fact that I can, just like, amongst all this light pollution, I still see these planets just hanging out there. That shows how close they actually are. Shows me how close they are. Now, of course, you know, most people don't even notice that stuff. And that's the thing. Like, I used to always look up at the moon when I was a kid, and I was just like, there's something to it. There's something more to this. Like, just never quite made sense because it looks so close. You know, and how could it be so close if it's 90? I guess that's what, 240,000 miles away. You know, so if the P900 is can pull it in like 25 miles, you know, distance, and we're seeing like the details of the moon like that, then it's no 240,000 miles away. You know, show me anything that you can see that's 240,000 miles away, right? I mean, even a plane that's more than probably 40, 50,000 feet is going to be invisible from the ground, you know. but yeah, I mean, I like your idea too, Yudit, of just kind of just showing them that stuff and let them think. You know, maybe present it with a little grin on your face. Hey, here's the moon. It's supposedly 240,000 miles away, eh? That's what I would do. But you probably shouldn't let me too close to your kids.
Yeah, one picture was 1,000 word.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And a video, millions of words.
Oh
And
yeah.
a video close-up of the moon.
Yep.
And a lunar wave, that's like a billion words.
Can I just say something? I think Jay wants to say something because he's got something up there. But I was just saying, like, obviously, because about this is why Sun and Moon came along, because we were just hoping that, you know, we were going the research way, but we also want to go the people way. It's to include everything. It's to even include people who believe in religions, the whole thing, because we're all on this journey. And it's supposed to be a family united in the best way as possible. But we also wanted to go a bit further than just talking. You know, this was were researching, people like Aaron, who's got a project, people like Matthew, who do his experiments and look up information. You've got Jay doing the same, and you've got obviously this bit with James wants to do. You've got Ubber, who sits in his taxi and talks to people. You've got Yudit taking pictures. It goes on. We're all a part of it. People in the chat room are doing things. We do the docs there. He does free energy. Do you see what I mean? We can't all do the same thing together. And I just think that already on this panel, we already know. And then the chat room, we're on a consciousness together. James, I hope that answers your questions a little bit, sort of.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. And I feel the same. I feel the same way. I feel like people, there's some people that aren't as bright as others, and some people, all they've known is, religion growing up in their whole life, and that should be okay, because we're all here fighting the same enemy, and we all was given indoctrinations. The difference between us and everyone else is that we are mentally strong enough to, see through the deception. Some people just can't see it, and I think that it's important for them to have a little bit more like when you're in school. Like I know, because I was special needs, I needed a little bit more help than the average person, because I just couldn't get some certain concepts with math, and I just need a little more help, a little more empathy. You know what I mean? And that was the only reason why I thought about, maybe like just focusing on aiding people to realize that there are many lies being told, along with the flat Earth lie. I mean, with the Earth model lie, yeah. But I mean, like, we have these conversations, and if it's gonna break through with flat Earth, but for some reason or another that person just can't get it, there should be other options for them to, like, different avenues to that same point. You know what I mean? And I think that's what.
But you know what? We touched this the other day, though. You're probably only going to get like what you're talking about if you get to know who you are as a person first, because there's no point unless you know who you are.
Right.
And without that bit, you're never going to get to the bit that you're talking about. You've got to know who you are as a person a bit. Otherwise, you're never going to believe anything that's ever said. But, when I first saw the flat Earth thing, it came just after 9/11, and I just thought, no, I'm not looking into that. No. And then, of course, about 3 weeks later, that was it. Oh my God, there you go. Yes, I can. And the moon's always got me, Aaron. Hey, on that point, Jay, do you want to say something?
Yes. First of all, it's an honor to be on the panel with all of you. Can you all see my screen? I'm going to share something very important about what's going on with the Earth and us.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. So you see PONS, the pawns. It says the bridge of asses. Now just hold on to that thought, because you have that in your lovely, beautiful brain. Give me a second. I'm trying to bring up my screen here. And I'll show you that. Yeah, it's in your head. So can you now all see this?
Could I just explain one thing, Aaron? You don't really know who Jay is. He's a syncretist, and he's also a ballet teacher, and he's realized what ballet is all about. It's part of this whole thing, which explains what we're living in.
Yes, indeed.
They've put it to dance.
I'll get into that in a second, but can y'all see the pawns right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Aaron. Do a little bit though, Jay, tonight, but it is Aaron's night tonight.
I'm sorry. No, I'm not. This won't be long. This is going to be very quick. So very simple. So why is it important to know about the Earth? Because our body is aligned with the Earth. Okay, the delta comes from your deltoid bone. The Egyptians knew the Nile was aligned with the head, and the lower chakra, the crotch. So I showed you we have the pawns of our brain. This is how brilliant colonialism is. Where is your colon? It is in your ass. Now, my kundalini is in my sacrum, where my ass is. So my pawns is the bridge of asses, right? Where the brain and temple is. This is very deep, but it's important to understand why we have to get out of this mind control. A colonist or an Assyrian, the asses, then we get assassins. Then we have the hash assassins. It's all about the brain. So when these people, right, and they step into our consciousness and they colonize us, they are literally finding geographic places to create their bullshit, to take indigenous wisdom. You are aligned with the earth. You have a solar plexus. The sun has solar energy. I teach that in ballet. They skip right past that in dance classes. It's like, fuck that. I want technique. No, it's a spirit, but very simple. To add to what y'all are saying, the importance of a globe and a flat is like basically looking at your body and knowing what it really means. And if you do not know what the body means and you're confused with what the earth is, then it doesn't matter if your intentions are good. You're aligned with the earth and she's flat and she's gorgeous. So technically, we have to get our brains, the metaphors, we have to rethink and get out of the mind control, because the colonists did it physically. They weren't just doing it by killing Indians and Africans and Haitians and whoever else. They physically mind controlled us. Whoa. On that note, I opened the door.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you there. You know, they've been at this for a while. Like whoever they is, we'll pass over that, but they have definitely been at this for a while. I get as crazy as my theory is that the moon is part of their manipulation. They actually planted the moon there as part of a way to impose the heliocentric lie upon us. And so this has been going on for a while in the sense that it's all part of a very elaborate scheme to pull us away from our divinity and to disempower us and to enslave us in this earth realm where essentially we all have a radio in our mind, as our mind, that can connect with all of existence, and we can know all the answers to all the questions. And wouldn't that suck for them if we figure that out? So this is why they've spent all this time and all this work to prevent us from communicating, which is what we're carrying around all the time. You know, we can know all of this information, and we don't have to look at books. I mean, books can be distracting from the truth. And so that's why I probably for the last 10 years or so, besides just kind of general technical books, you know, I don't read for philosophy or for deep thinking. I meditate. I go within myself and I explore the truth of the self, and I learn more from that than I would possibly from reading or listening to someone talk about even these same concepts, because it's direct experience and I carry it with me. So now here, as I'm sitting here, as I'm speaking, I mean, I'm sort of hearing these words too, just like you all are, because I am channeling this from a higher level of consciousness. Now, am I in a state of trance? No, I am not. I am conscious. I'm present. But I'm also aware of sort of this mechanism, this muscle that allows me to just get my ego out of the way and just start opening my mouth and flapping my lips, and hopefully some good stuff's going to come out. And as I've done that more and more throughout my life, it's happened more and more, and I've gotten more and more. It's very much like music, or anything, where you have to kind of just let go, trust yourself, and ride that wave that flows through you. Right? And we all have this ability, and we can channel it through anything, whether it's dance or whether it's music or anything at all whatsoever. And that's the beauty of it, and everything, all the time. Like, I'm a musician. I don't know, I'm sort of an artist. I used to be really into art, and I still do it every once in a while. I do write computer code. That's my art form nowadays. Honestly, that's my greatest art form, and that's probably kind of weird to a lot of people, but I want to address this more of just like, because this ties back to what I think James was asking me about, which was the Bitcoin thing and the whole cryptocurrency, because I do want to relate to all this. Okay, so this is important to relate, because we're not alone here in the sense that we have help. We have help in order to achieve these aims. So, you know, I'm sitting here talking, and it seems like it's just Aaron talking, but no, it's not. I have a whole team behind me that's helping me to achieve these words. And this is because this is not a physical reality. There's no physical reality. That's all illusory. The reality is that we are multidimensional beings that are all the same being ultimately. And so with that being the reality, with that being understood, now I could say, all right, well, I'm a collective of beings, and we are all working together to speak through Aaron, to act through Aaron, and as well as act through this society and this culture. And, you know, we are all sort of independent. We all are unique, but we also are all the same, the oneness, and equal. And so in that way, you know, I'm able to well, okay, I guess what I'm trying to say here is that technology is not just physical. It's not just hardware. The Kundalini is technology. Now, what is the Kundalini? Oh, it's the serpent of energy that's coiled at the base of your spine. No, it's the fire of consciousness, right? It's the actual source energy incarnate within us, and so it's much more than just this concept of a physical thing that is within the physical body. You know, what is the physical body even? It's you can't describe it really. You know, words do not do it justice in actuality. And so, you know, the word itself, human, I mean, there's a lot of etymology that goes into that word. And the actual origin of that word is actually, you know, hu, as in like we are this channel, this conduit, right? Man is kind of, it relates to the thinker, the mind. So we're a conduit of the mind, right? So that's what a human is. That's what human technology is. The human form is technology. All right, so now what humans, being human technology, what I can do with my mind, channeling through this body, I can type my fingers on a keyboard and make things happen. Not just on my screen, but then I can push things. I can make things happen on the World Wide Web. And that allows me to, like, that gives me sorcery power, first of all. And anybody has that, whether you believe we're divine beings or not. You do have to admit that if you can comprehend how to write code, and then you put that code onto the World Wide Web, then you have a certain power of, like, there's magic. A lot of people consider that magic. They're like, oh, I don't understand it.
Yes.
I don't understand how you...
Yes.
So
absolutely.
yeah. So the and so now we come into a problem here, because here I'm saying, you know, you got to go, you got to trust yourself. You got to look within for all the truth. But then I want to say, just trust me in regards to Bitcoin, or in regards to blockchain, or in these technologies. I don't want to say that. I'm just saying, like, you know, if you don't really understand it, then you might have some fear, and I can appreciate that. I can, because we've been trained that way. You know, probably the Terminator with Skynet. You know, they trained us that AI is all evil. It's going to come and just destroy the world. How many movies have come out where it's just, you know, of course AI, it's just going to, like, some bug is just going to magically, like, cause it to be sentient and want to just destroy all humanity. And that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard as far as being a software developer. And the same is true with the Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, blockchain technologies. You know, you can use all of these concepts, whether it's AI, blockchain, just computers in general, the internet in general. You know, are these things good or bad? They're neutral. They don't make those decisions. It's who's using them and what are you using them for, and that's always the question. So you can use the internet for things like creating a centralized marketplace where you control every single product that you can, and try to just have it so that everything is channeled through you, aka Amazon, or, you know, Craigslist or Google products or whatever. You're basically looking at these uses of technology that are extremely centralized, and therefore completely control oriented. They're based on these corporate structures, which we've already described are sick. They're unhealthy. They're, you know, focused completely on the bottom line, and they do not have a heart to to have compassion towards the customers, towards the workers who are working for the company. So therefore, most corporations do not have a heart. You know, it only would have a heart if the founders actually had a heart and decided to channel that heart into their company. But that happens very rarely. It does happen though. And this is a big part of what I'm doing. So all my interaction with business as usual, with you know, just corporations and my own corporations will all act in this way. We will be sort of demonstrating a way in which a business could be responsible and could be heart-oriented and aligned with the whole collective. And there's no reason why we couldn't do this. You know, I just saw a thing that said like there's 300 something billionaires in the United States, and none of them have decided to become Batman, which is a funny twist on it. But you know, that's the idea. Is just like, okay, if you have billions of dollars now, what are you going to do with it? You're going to just go buy a bunch of Lamborghinis? Probably. A lot of these people do. Yeah, sure. You know, how many Lamborghinis is too many? Oh, you could never have too many Lamborghinis. You know, that's how these guys think. And so they're just, you know, trying to accumulate more. And like you get to $1 billion and you actually think you need to accumulate more. Like, so that just shows the programming, you know, that everyone's in. Even if you get to the end, you still think you have further to go. You know, and then your focus is not losing the billions that you got, you know, and that's not everyone for sure, but that is the kind of the majority of the wealthy are stuck in that way of thinking, and that goes again to the programming that's been imposed on us, and you know, that's whose fault is it? Well, again, it's no one's fault. All right, fault is a faulty concept. It's illusory. There's no such thing as fault. Like, everyone is responsible for every single thing that happens in their lives. End of story. So it doesn't matter. Like, you know, if something happened to you, it didn't happen to you. You drew it into your life. You may not want to believe that. You may not agree with that statement, but it's absolutely 100% true. And the more we can come to terms with this truth, the more we will be able to wake up, the more we will be able to take responsibility for our lives and for the collective. Because I personally am at the point now where I do take responsibility for the situation at hand. You know, I am not a member of the ruling elite. However, I have compassion for them. I have empathy for them. You know, it must not be easy for them because they suffer greatly trying to hold on to their power, trying to maintain their secrets. You know, that's a miserable existence if you ask me. And I'm sure if you ask them too. If you ask them and they're being honest with themselves, which might not happen. Might not happen anytime soon or ever, and that's okay, because that's not really our responsibility. What is our responsibility is how we feel about them, and so if we can show compassion to these elitists that they've gotten carried away, no doubt about it. But does that mean that it has to take a long time? Does it have to take a century to fix this problem? No, we could fix it by the end of 2018. We could really fix this entire situation for the entire world. Get rid of all the countries and national borders. Get rid of all the phony organizations that were based on lies. Let's just get rid of them. Let's move on to a society where, you know, we're all being honest with each other and we're creating infrastructure that's supporting for the earth and in alignment with the earth, as well as, you know, each other and the collective, and everything's just moving in that direction. Now, we might not be there fully yet, but we can start going there. We can start walking in that direction. We can do so locking arms, and that way, now nothing will be able to stop us, and so we'll get there eventually. You know, it's a matter of how long it takes, but that doesn't matter. It's how quickly we choose to be responsible for our own lives. You know, and that's really Project Lumen. That's what it's about. That's what the light has taught me, is that I am responsible for my life. I am the creator of my reality, and there's no other truth than that. And anything else is a lie trying to distract me from that one truth. You know, yeah, we are all one. We're not all one in this illusion. And so, you know, how do we deal with that? Well, the way to deal with it is just take responsibility for everything that happens to me. You know, right now, I'm in front of this camera that's in front of everyone who's watching it. And that's what I'm taking responsibility for. You know, I'm using my words in a responsible fashion right now, and I mean by that I'm responding to the intuitive inklings that are coming my way. Why? Because I have the ability to respond to those inklings. Therefore, I have responsibility. Now, how did I get that ability? I got it through a lot of failures in this regard, where I would not respond to these inklings, these intuitive guidance. I got it through a lot of trial and error, a lot of self introspection and study, and just experience, life experience has ultimately brought me to the point where, yeah, I'm speaking these words specifically. You talk to me in a month, I'll be saying other words. I'll be saying other things. Hopefully it won't be exactly the same presentation, and it won't be, because I'm a new person. I'm a new person every single time.
Aaron, there's a question in the chat room, and I suppose it's maybe one worth asking. And the way he's kind of put it, it's Area 51. He wondered if you'd have some kind of disclaimer, because is it financial advice you'll be giving, or is it up to the people to have their private key in trustless system? That's what he's written.
Yes, I will not be giving financial advice. And yes, it is up to each person to have their own private key. I guess you're talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, I'm assuming, here. So yes, let me address all of this crypto certainty. Okay, so sorry, I guess I went on a tangent. I was trying to explain overall how technology is neutral and kind of dependent on how we want to use it, right? You can use it for good or evil, or just those are both illusory anyway. So really, how are we using it? Well, we need money to transact. Now, plain and simple, we could barter, but it gets really messy and hard to do, especially digitally. How do you barter digitally? And so this is where Bitcoin was born. Really, the idea started even before Bitcoin, and it's the essential concept that you want to have some sort of digital currency that is outside of the central banks. What are the central banks doing? They're controlling all the money creation, the minting, as well as distributing it, and they can destroy a bunch of it, or they can print a bunch of it, depending on how they want to manipulate the economy. And that's way too much power for some group of people that we don't even know really who they are. And so the response to that, again, the ability to respond, software, we can create anything we want. Someone decided to create something called Bitcoin. The idea here was that what we would have is it's a ledger. You're tracking transactions on a piece of paper, think of it. And now this piece of paper is public, and you can't change it. No one can change it. This is the technology. This is blockchain technology. It's just making it so that we're all sharing exactly the same ledger, and no one can change it except for through these rules, which the only rules are you can spend money that you have. You can't spend money that you don't have. So that's the only rule, really, to the Bitcoin system. And so, and everyone has to follow those rules. And that's how it's immutable. That's how it's an actual secure, legitimate form of currency.
I just say, though, Aaron, people don't like this idea of Bitcoin. Matthew. Matthew. He was writing something in the chat room. He doesn't.
Bitcoin, I think.
Doesn't like the Bitcoin.
No, I don't. I see Bitcoin as the next nefarious plan in order to take control of the money. I mean, they're trying to get rid of the physical dollar in any and every country in the world. They want one single currency. Nobody can agree on this currency because some people want it in their language and in this language and in that language. But how do we make that one? Well, we digitize it. Now you have one currency, one digital currency, which is easily controllable. People say Bitcoin's not controlled by anybody. Well, that's fine, but the internet is controlled by people. The electronics of the world, the electrical system is controlled by people. So yeah, they may not be able to control your Bitcoin, and you may make a lot of money on it, but as soon as the physical dollar's gone, and as soon as nothing but digital currency is left, all it takes is for somebody to shut off your internet capabilities, and also they're already trying to put a digital currency into chips. So all they got to do is shut off your ability to use your chip. And it doesn't matter if your Bitcoin is secure or not. Once your internet's gone, your Bitcoin's gone, your money's gone. So plain and simple, until the only kind of currency I believe in is exchange. You know, if I need something, I'll work for it. And in exchange, I get something else. You know, if you need something of mine and I need something else, then you can provide that something else and I can provide the something you need of mine. Exchange. That's the true bit of currency that I believe people should work on. This is just my opinion. People really do love the Bitcoin, and I get it because I know people that have made literally hundreds of thousands since the beginning of the year or last year, you know, hundreds of thousands. But like I said, they may control and it may be secure, but once your internet's gone and your ability to use the internet, that's your money too, plain and simple. And once the real money's gone and that's all you have, then you're screwed.
I mean, I would say that you have a few misunderstandings about how Bitcoin works, which is a lot of people have. First of all, if the internet shuts down, no, that the Bitcoin is still there. We would have to form another network, and there's a lot of things that are solving this problem where they're called off-chain solutions, where you can transact even if you're not connected to the main network. And so there's a lot of solutions for that. Now, is Bitcoin controlled? No, they're trying to control it. They would love to control it. But they got in too late, honestly. I think everyone was just kind of trying to be quiet about Bitcoin, so the banksters didn't get in too early. And it happened that way. They got in too late. Now they're just now coming on board. Now you have all these banksters. They're trashing it. They're saying it's a bubble. It's going to pop. And then when everyone freaks out because they said that, then they buy in the dip. They buy it cheap. And that's been their game. They've been doing it. They're going to keep on doing it. People aren't going to fall for it as easily as my theory. And then they are also getting into it. Yeah, they're trying to create their own cryptocurrencies to basically leverage the blockchain technology in their own ways, their own centralized ways. Yeah, I mean,
I got a question for you, Aaron. Okay, so you support the digital currency thing, especially Bitcoin, because it's secure, as you say. Let me ask you this: since cyber world and hacking and the cyber crime is the largest growing crime and the largest growing not just crime, but it's the largest growing education, it's the largest growing technology, etc. Everything, it's pretty much becoming based online. Now, with that growing, the hackers' knowledge is growing too. And the people that have been hacking since day one and whatnot, if you really, truly, honestly believe that your Bitcoin is secure, only to you yourself, then I feel like you have a lack of knowledge when it comes to how incredible some of these people are on the internet and what they are actually capable of. And once again, even if it is security, just the fact that cybercrime is the biggest thing in the world as far as war as well. Now, if an EMP were to happen anywhere in your vicinity or area and there's absolute zero electrical use and you need to use your Bitcoin in order to pay your bills or to get food or whatever you need to do in the future. Now, these wars are going to, not going to be so devastating, but like as far as life loss, because no explosions and all that stuff. But an EMP, when the world is fully digital, including your money, is about as devastating as it gets. What would you do in a situation like that when you have zero electrical use for weeks on end because of a electromagnetic attack?
Well, I wouldn't put all of my money in Bitcoin, first of all. And if
that's what people are doing, though.
We have an attack. Well, maybe some. It's certainly not recommended by anyone that I've ever heard. And gold and silver are good investments for that reason. If you are worried about that, or also just good investments in general. Again, not financial advice. But if you have an EMP attack, you got much bigger problems. You go through the broken glass and take whatever you need out of the gas station. I mean, it's it's like if we have a Mad Max scenario or whatever, you got much bigger problems. And if you're like me, who I have like a Visa card that allows me to spend Bitcoin, well, as long as they have a system up to accept Visa, then I could still spend my Bitcoin. If not, well, I could still actually trade Bitcoin with someone who would still honor it, even if the network's down. Because there's, like I said, off-chain solutions, and most importantly, I mean, it's like, what are you supporting instead? Are you supporting the fiat dollar, the petrodollar, the slave note that's basically
No,
put us all in this situation?
I support neither. I said I support exchange, material exchange. Like, say you're a farmer and I need food for my family, yet and I'm an engineer and you have equipment that needs fixed. I go fix your equipment. You help feed my family with some of the food on your, it's exchange, equivalent exchange, rather than me using, spending my life working for money that I'm using to pay for a house that I never really am in, because I'm always at work working for the money to pay the house that you're never in, just to die because you're paying the bills. And then once you get to your retirement, especially nowadays, they take it from you. I'm just saying, I don't support either system. But the thing is, as the talks at the G2 convention at the United Nations, they are trying to get rid of the physical dollar. So when you say don't put all your money into Bitcoin and whatnot, well, that's the thing, is people are going to have to. They're going to have not just Bitcoin, but they're going to have to digitize their money sooner or later. And by the way things are progressing in the world right now, it seems like it's going to be a sooner kind of scenario. Talking about putting your Bitcoin and putting digital currency into the chip.
I recommend anyone to get Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of these coins. They're just going to keep on going up in price, so that now, yeah, you can get in on these gains if you want. Now, I'm not saying it's a guarantee at all, but the reality is, if you do require money for whatever livelihood that you are performing, which is just about all of us, then you could benefit by putting a little of that excess money into some of these cryptocurrencies, because here's what's actually happening. I'll tell you what's happening, whether we like it or not. This is exactly what's happening. Bitcoin is swapping out, it's flipping with the petrodollar. The petrodollar is the $1 for the entire world. They've already got it in place. It's already digital. They've already got chips on your cards. They've had it for years, for decades now. That's the digital currency. It's already been. If the internet goes down, what's going to happen? Okay, all the banks are going to totally respect and honor what you had in your account. Not necessarily, but guess what? Bitcoin can't. It's not a central authority that you have to check with to see whether they're going to give you back your coin. No, Bitcoin is an immutable blockchain. It cannot go anywhere. Even if our
that's the same thing with regular money. The most secure thing in the entire world is a dollar bill in your own pocket. You don't have to go to a bank to ask them what to do with it. See, that's the problem, is people hate the banking system, but we don't need the banking system. If you get money, put it under your pillow, put it in a safe. Don't ever go to the bank. Then you never have to worry about a middleman ever again. And it's as secure as it gets. Whereas Bitcoin is still digital.
Cash is not secure. There's strips in every single dollar bill, every single coin nowadays is printed, where they have these devices. Law enforcement, they all have these devices where they can scan your car, your house. They can find cash, first of all, okay? Second of all, it used to be, until not too long ago, less than 100 years ago, it was illegal to have your own gold. Okay, illegal to have gold in any store at all. They could come in and they could take it from you because that was the law. Okay, now Bitcoin, they're trying to make it illegal or they're trying to make it so that you have to declare how much digital currency you have when you leave the country. Guess what? They have no ability to enforce that. They have no ability to enforce that because of how it works. It's decentralized. It's distributed. They can't just go and find you and then here's your Bitcoin account. They can make no intrinsic connection. Now, maybe they could if they did research, but they're not going to do that for every person to go through customs. So the reality is, actually, digital, or let's call it blockchain-based currencies, are more secure than any other form of currency, any other form of even holding on to something of value. If you have a house, they can take that house away from you. If you have a boat, they can take that boat away from you. If you have anything physical, they can come and take it. If we got to that point, they would, right? I don't personally believe we're going to get to that point. I don't see a Mad Max situation happening. And I also, I see that, like, really things are going to get a lot better here. rather than just go into this bleak.
If you think that the government's gonna allow you to use internet, if the government ever comes to the point to where they seriously strap down and martial law comes into effect and all that, if you really think they're gonna just allow your use of the internet, then you got another thing coming. I mean, the certain blocks, certain communities, they have electricity shut down in them in the ghettos and stuff like that all the time. They don't have internet or nothing, but all they have is what they have. So, I don't know. In my personal opinion, instead of spending too much time collecting any kind of currency that you can exchange by hand like that, like Bitcoin or digital even, or even gold and materials and stuff like that, I think instead of wasting too much time, I mean, we have to live in the real world here. So of course you need some currency, but I think people should really focus on building a skill, because the exchange of skills is one of the most important things ever. You know, I need this skill and I have a skill that others need too. So I'm able to feed my family because of my skill. And then the people whose skills, they're able to help me out and I could help them out. So the exchange of skill rather than the exchange of, you know, digital currency or the exchange of physical currency would be, you know, a utopian idea.
Could I just say something? I've obviously asked Aaron these questions before because everybody really likes this project he's got, but the only thing people get a little bit funny about is the Bitcoin. But Aaron's explained to me, like, he's looked up so many things. It doesn't mean it doesn't change. It's just this is where he's got to at the moment, because looking through the monetary thing. But
it's just the internet thing that scares me, honestly.
Either. It's not that he loves it all, just that. But the other thing I just wanted to say was, if the Lecky goes off, then surely we're going to wake up even quicker, and we're going to have to be doing other things.
Exactly. And
I'm just scared of the internet thing. If it's connected to the internet, I feel like it's controlled, plain and simple. We don't feel like it is, but at some point in way, if it's connected to the internet, there is a controlling entity of it, because we're connected through the internet by the devices that others control. You know, we use the satellites that are tethered to high altitude air balloons, you know, and if they decide to shut off a link on a satellite to a specific area, say the entire, you know, West Coast or something, then there goes their entire use of being able to exchange money and whatnot. I feel like it's the precursor to the mark, you know. You can't buy, sell, or trade without the mark. And if it's digitalized and you get that, you know, ability to access it, then
Mark's already here. Mark is the petrodollar. That's the mark of the beast. That's the god. That's the false idol that everyone's been worshiping. I mean, maybe you're not, but I mean, you know, look around. I mean, that's what everyone's worshiping. That's the one.
If that's true, then we have already all died. I mean, in a biblical kind of sense, those who accept and take the mark of the beast will not be accepted in heaven, and we're all screwed.
I think that's just you know, I mean, I think that's a story. A lot of it's programming for you to have like certain fears that, oh yeah, the mark of the beast, going to come, and you know, I mean, the reality is they've already taken our power. They've already, the mark of the beast has already been here. This is hell. We've been in hell. You know, let's get out of hell. Let's go. Let's freaking get out of here. That's what I'm saying. And like, okay, first of all, most importantly, I think with people misunderstand, blockchain is not currency. Okay, blockchain is technology. Is the internet a currency? Like, no, it's not. And is the internet a good thing or a bad thing? You know, I mean, it seems pretty good because this is what's enabling us to have all these conversations and learn all these new things that we didn't know before. But then, yeah, there's people who use it badly. There's crime. Sure, there's always been crime, hasn't there? Well, you know, blockchain can be used for governance. All right, so imagine rather than us all like just trusting that our politicians are not fixing the voting machine. Oh, wait, there was already a documentary that came out and just showed you how the voting machines that they've been using for the last, you know, however long are completely hackable. Not only that, they have a backdoor. So therefore, they're completely rigged. Every election, every presidential election we've probably ever known, or since they started using digital machines, has been rigged. We've known it. Has anyone cared? Has anyone done anything about it? Not really. But here's a solution. Blockchain. Blockchain would allow us to have completely transparent elections. where, I mean, this is where this technology is going. It's going to a point where we don't need representatives. We don't even need really a political office. That was like back in the days of Athens, like whatever. They just started having representatives, and they have people standing on the stage and pleading their case against someone else. And here's why you should elect me as your representative. And then, it was perhaps more legit, but probably still corrupt back in those times because, when there's the opportunity for corruption, usually it's seized by someone. Blockchain prevents the opportunity for corruption. You cannot hack Bitcoin. No one ever has, and as it gets bigger, it becomes more impossible. And that's not just true of Bitcoin. That's true of blockchain. That's true of all these use cases. If you want to have a knowledge base about the truth, about this scientific evidence that we're pulling together, well, where are we going to store that evidence? We're going to store it in the blockchain. How are we going to be sure that no one's come along and tampered with that evidence? Because it's stored in the blockchain. This is like writing it in stone. Why did all the ancestors write everything in stone? Probably for a similar reason. So in hopes that we wouldn't forget. Now we did forget. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what the Egyptians were talking about. Why is there a helicopter on one of their hieroglyphs? That doesn't make any sense. Well, they obviously knew a lot of things. I wouldn't be surprised if the whole entire, Egyptian language is misunderstood, and it really is just talking about how to create blockchain technology and use it so that you can prevent corruption. And, it's just like we've been repeating this cycle, but here we are again. And I, like many people, have been waking up to the power of blockchain as a solution for our problems. Now, most of the people that disagree with me on this, and I mean no offense by this, but it's probably because you just don't really understand how it works. And again, I mean no offense by that, because it is a hard concept to understand, and I've had to explain this many times, and I will continue to explain it because I understand that people it's hard to understand. It really is. It's a difficult principle, but it is our best. It is our best.
I agree with you, man. I agree. I honestly haven't looked into it enough. So, I mean, in a way, I guess I sounded a bit ignorant by throwing out my opinion, but like I said, the thing that scares me is the fact that it's internet based. That's it. And my feeling that the internet, you may not be able to control the internet, but you control the devices that allow us to access the internet. And there are people that do, and that's me, that's the only thing. Besides that, I don't have any kind of understanding into blockchain or digital currency or any of that. There's just the fact that somebody does control a switch that can or cannot turn on or off a link that allows us to use that internet. That's what freaks me out.
And it should. And so you understand that when someone has that power, that centralized power, then that's not a good thing. And we need to be careful about that, right?
If we can utilize Tesla's technology where he tapped into the actual radio waves, which is basically the internet where the internet lives, if we can utilize that as the people ourselves and take that power away from the government to where they have that switch on those satellites, that create the field that we're able to use this in. If we're able to utilize that and create our own fields and bubbles and whatnot, then yeah, we would have our own, our own power equal to that of the government when it comes to currency and exchange and everything. So in that case, it would be amazing, truly. And I guess that's something I could work on because I'm working on something similar to that, just not that concept at all. I just thought of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is already being done as far as creating a new internet, one it's called a mesh. So instead of a net, it's a mesh, right? And what that means is it's distributed, meaning that there's not like a central internet service provider that could just shut off or even censor. And I'm watching them. Okay, they do the what's the thing that just came out? Basically, the content restriction. Does anyone remember what that's called?
Are you talking about where we get to experience 10% of the internet and the 90% is the black internet, the black net? So this mesh is going to be basically like you get to experience the whole iceberg.
Oh gosh, my brain's blanking right now. well, whatever. They just passed this thing. Basically, Congress just passed it. What am I calling it? It's the content. Basically, now ISPs, internet service providers, can decide who gets what speed and access to internet, which is a major problem. And so, therefore, what we're going to see is pushback, I think, where more and more there's going to be more and more activity to create decentralized internet solutions. So that's why, like Karen's saying, I agree with her. It's like they're not going to shut the power off because their money system of power, their system of power and money hinges on the electricity and the internet running. Okay, if they shut that off, now they've sort of lost their power, whereas some of us, still through distributed blockchain technologies, could still have transacting capabilities, and then we do so as a proxy for others until we got everything back up and running, and we get our distributed internet going, and so that would just push us immediately into motion. And there's actually, like, I'm not the only one doing this. I might be one of the few people that's talking about these things, but there's massive networks of people. They're just not talking about it. I just have a loud mouth, but they're working on it. It's being done. It's already being developed. It's pretty much ready to go if we needed to go, in the sense that we have an internet backup. Okay, so they're not going to shut it down because that's just going to force us to use our backup, and then they don't have control over it anymore. They don't have the centralized control. So they're going to milk their centralized controls for as long as they can. They're going to do that with the fiat and all the fiat money. They're going to milk that as long as they can. And then they're going to, once that's gone.
Scary, because then that hints at the possibility of a domestic terrorist organization popping up to create, the loss of the centralized internet, so that way they can force the new internet to be created. Even though that's what they're technically trying to stop, it seems like, like a radical kind of situation can develop out of this. Yeah.
I mean, it could, but the reality is, at this point, is that we're like organized enough and we're spread out enough where they don't want to. They do have a switch. They could turn the entire internet and probably entire power off, right? But I don't think they're going to use it for this reason.
Aren't they doing that already, though? Look what they've done. They've lied to us what we live on. They're lying about the wars.
That's why. Yeah.
The communities, our lives, the laws, it's everything. The history, the sun, just everything. They've already done that, haven't they?
They have, and look at and the biggest, well, not the biggest lie, but a huge lie is with the money. They've convinced us all that we have to use their monopoly money. When they just decide whenever they want to print more monopoly money. It's like completely unfair. Based on a fractional reserve banking, that just basically means the value of whatever cash you have is just going to constantly go down. So, back in the 50s, you put your money under your pillow or under your mattress, you forgot about it. You put $1,000 there. Now if it was Bitcoin money, you'd have $1 billion right now. But if it was just regular old cash, you'd have the equivalent of, I mean, it's much less, because the value of the dollar has gone down so substantially. That's why it takes so much more money to buy anything now. Back then in the 50s, $1,000, that was probably pretty decent. It's a good savings.
So is the pound. The pound, they've almost annihilated the pound.
Yeah, they're intimately related. Even though they like us to think that we're separate countries and nations, no, they're all the same puppet masters. They're all in cahoots. That all of our presidents have been kneeling before the Queen of England. Why would they do that? I thought we had our independence and freedom from. I mean, it's just nothing adds up. It all points to massive deceptions, and a big part of how they've been able to pull it off is through this money trick. They tricked us that we have to use their money, and then now Bitcoin's coming along and saying, no, we can actually use our own money. And the thing that's hard that you just need to understand is that Bitcoin gives you your own vault, your own bank. It's not saying, oh, here's Mr. Satoshi, he owns everyone's Bitcoin accounts. No, he does have a sizable account, and that's a whole nother thing. But But each person who has their own Bitcoin account has their own vault, and unless you just go broadcasting your private key or giving it away to someone, then that's completely yours and secure, and no one can access it. And you can even, there's ways to just memorize it so that you can just go. You don't have to have anything written down or even physical. You can just go access the Bitcoin blockchain, put in your memorized key, and then pull out your money or do whatever you want with it. And no one has to know that it's you, and you don't have to pay taxes on it. And that's their big thing, is they want to tax it. And so now here's another big piece of news, is that now the U.S. government is actually taxing it. So because they're taxing it, it's showing actually that it's going to be here to stay. The big banks are getting in on it. They're seeing okay, it is a money-making opportunity for investors, as well as a taxing opportunity. Now, how are they taxing it? They're only able to tax your capital gains from a few certain exchanges that they have agreements with, that share all their their customer information when asked by the IRS, right? Well, that's not everyone, though. So you could very much be off the radar if you so desired. And then, me personally, again,
I'm not telling everybody they have to do this. It's just part of the program. Can I just say that Jay wants to say something, don't you, Jay? You've been waiting to say something.
No, if it's once again, much love to Aaron, man. I'm grateful. I don't know much about Bitcoin, and that's good for me because I was thinking about getting in on that because I'm also trying to get independence. I'm doing PayPal right now, trying to get donations. As a teacher in university, I'm mind control. I'm teaching knowledge of self in the dance department. So just know you got one in the system trying to fix the shit. But I wanted to add this, excuse me, that it's more than just the idea of the money. These men who took our gold, the Rothschild family, the Red Shield, people of Mars, Adama, Red Earth, Adam, Red Man, these people who stand in place of Mars energy, 13 individuals got together on some Jekyll Island in Georgia and decided to make this federal thing illegally. So what happened was, they stuck together and created a ritual. They chanted just like the spiritual people would do. These people are very intelligent and know what time of year and who to link with to then control the entire disk of Earth. 13 men did this shit, and we are all suffering from 13. Now, I asked myself, how in the hell, even if you're so powerful with a last name and you have trillions of dollars, you're still a person like me. How does 13 people get that done? It's very simple. You have to know your astrology. What time of year was it? What part of the earth did they go to? What was the vibration? These people get together and they do these chantings. They sacrifice children. We know this. The children get sacrificed. That's why they're being killed and raped. In their sacrum, where the sacred serpents are, to get to your pawns, the temple is bliss. To get to bliss, the idea of money, we have to think the people who are awake, like all of us here. It's great that we're talking about it and that we know. The problem is that we don't physically do rituals. We don't chant mantras to repel. So when these demons, these people who get together, these elites, and they do their satanic rituals, we're still kind of, not saying that we don't do our thing now. Meditating is great. But this is different from meditating. What they do is they get together and create an energy force. That is what's killing us. So I think getting back to chanting Hare Krishna, which I've chanted to my plants were dying. I said Hare Krishna, nothing grew until I said that. I'm growing 5 plants. I had 3 that were dead. Here is the evidence. I always love showing this, that we can, our will, our brain is the money. The memory bank, where'd the bank come from? The brain came first. Your Templar Knights knew that. They went all over the world raping and pillaging and stealing ancient wisdom. And they twisted it, kept the bloodlines, infiltrated it. Now they're doing damn rituals. Now they have movies to do it. We'll use Star Wars. Great, we'll call that actor. Ritual. We have a holiday. Great, ritual. We have war. It goes on. So, sorry, I'm not trying to be long-winded, but I think the idea of money will work best.
Can I just say one thing on that? What you're sort of explaining is that everybody thinks that they're frightened that one world order is coming. It's already here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and then the new Earth is coming, which is us making these changes, these transitions from what has been.
Go Aaron, go Aaron, go Jay, go Matthew, go Yudit, and everybody in the chat room.
Goes wild. No.
Hey, Aaron, where are you from? Sorry.
Kansas originally. I live in LA right now.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yes. You know, and that's what I was saying earlier about like how it's important for us to acknowledge that there is an evil force here. There is evil at work. There's people. There's evil people. Let's just call them that, right? Now they've been handing this down generationally. I think I see like a lot of the stuff that's come out about the various rituals they perform. I think some of that is fear porn. I think a lot of it is just kind of put out there to kind of get us thinking that they have this sort of, they're tapped into this supernatural evil force. Whereas I think the real force is that they're just using these principles of the mind and manifestation. And a big part of it is that they come together, because they come together, they organize. Like, think about it, like, they had to organize chemtrails, right? It's not like just they woke up one day and all of a sudden there are these planes flying up there spraying chemicals. No, they had to come up with the idea. They had to find the pilots. They had to come up with a cover story, probably, which somehow correlates to spray and pray. And then they had to get the planes, yada yada, so on and so forth. And that required the organization, the project management, the delegating certain responsibilities and compartmentalization. They did all this. This is manifestation. They used mental manifestation to achieve this. Now, what I'm suggesting is we use mental manifestation to achieve other things, like the solution to those problems. Let's stop them from doing chemtrails. Ultimately, let's stop NASA from continuing to lie to our children. Let's and it doesn't have to happen all at once, but we do start now. Like, by being in this present moment, by being awake in this moment, we have the opportunity to start these initiatives, to take whatever steps we can take. If you feel drawn to anything I'm saying or anyone else here is saying, then reach out. How can I be involved? How can I help? What needs to be done? Let's take a proactive. Now is the time. I haven't really said this as much before, but now is the time for people. If you feel driven, if you feel that you are in some way a warrior of light or principle or truth, then it's time for you to stand up and do whatever you're called to do, whatever you're driven to do, whatever you feel compelled and moved to do, then do it. Start doing it. Reach out to people. If an opportunity comes your way, seize that opportunity. See it as an opportunity. Be grateful for that opportunity, because there will be more to follow as you respond to that opportunity. And now's the time. I won't even say the negative counterpart to all this. It's just really now is the time to stand up and start doing our thing. Let's work together. Let's make this happen. And who knows, 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 years, who knows what this world will look like. But we will know that we participated in the transformation of it to being a more utopic reality, that we actually enjoy living. We actually really have a desire to raise children in. That's what we all want. I know it's what we all want. I know everyone who comes to the truth from any direction, that's ultimately what they want. And they want this to be a good world where everyone is honest with each other and treats everyone with respect. And that's the great majority here. There's just been a few stragglers that just, got out of hand. So let's just fix that, move right on. Doesn't have to take a long time. Doesn't have to even be that hard. It could be pretty fun. We can have a lot of fun doing this. Trust me. This can be a lot of fun. So let's do it.
I appreciate this, Aaron, a lot. This is actually giving rise to you're inspiring me right now to do something kind of similar to exactly what you're doing, giving rise to a project to, better everything, and it's inspiring me to create like my own kind of project, exactly pretty much on the same lines as of where you're going, a utopian type idea, something that can slowly grow as it's realized, somebody sees your idea and then they see the current idea and they realize, okay, so here's an area that needs improvement. Why not give it a try? Instead of trying the same thing over and over and over and, obviously not improving, why not try something else and see if it does improve? Because it almost seems like it's the same thing with science, and moving on. As soon as experimentation was replaced with theories and numbers, we stopped progressing scientifically. We pretty much came to a halt. So if people stop just, theorizing on what could possibly help us do better and actually continue with the so-called experimentation and putting these things into practical use, then people will start realizing that they'll be like, okay, it's not theoretical. Like I'm not just saying, hey, if you do this, this will make it a better society. No, you actually start doing it. And slowly people will start picking up on it like, hey, this is actually nice. Like, whoa, I'm going to start doing the same thing. And then, it slowly bleeds out, kind of like that movie and idea, Pay It Forward. You do it something nice, and you do it for two people and those two people do it for two other people and it continues and goes on and on. You know what I mean? So you really inspired me to kind of pick up on a little something here. So that's awesome.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Yeah, and anyone. Well, one thing I wanted to say too is that part of what Project Lumen Online will be, so projectlumen.org, the website will actually be sort of like a way for people to, ultimately for people to contribute their own projects that are in alignment with these principles, and to be able to like get support, be able to bring in resources and get funding and whatever else. And, and if it's really in alignment, then we'll help, like as the collective, the Project Lumen, like we'll, bring projects. So maybe yours could be another project on this where we're just all working together to make all of these things happen, because no one should be working in a bubble or a silo, because the more we can all just come together more immediately, then that's going to mean the faster it's just going to take off. And once we reach that critical mass, then look out, then we just almost even just all sit back and watch it happen. Just watch, like at some point there will be a critical mass reached with flat Earth. And a lot of people think it's going to be this year. I think it probably could be this year, where at some point it's just like everyone's just like, oh, holy shit, the Earth might be flat. It's like the 100th monkey, We're like 85 monkeys right now.
I'm laughing because everybody's going off of this SpaceX thing saying like, here in the next 50 to 60 years, space travel is going to become commercial. So as soon as all you flat earthers can finally go up into space in a space shuttle, I'm just sitting here thinking like, you do realize that as soon as that 50, 60 years comes, they're just going to tell you, oh, well, we're still honing in on the technology and it's going to get there eventually. Give us another couple years will come along and they'll say, well, we're at a loss of material and now we need to find a way in order to get some more materials and da-da-da. There's always going to be an issue as to why they won't be able to do it. And people will keep trying to feed off of that one little thing. And yeah, I can't wait until that realization comes to where everybody finally just gets the fact that every time they show us something about the heliocentric theory, it's computerized. It's never flat out straight live right then and there, full pan. If they say it's live, these live ISS videos, I would love to see this camera do a full, complete, total pan all around, in and out, nonstop. I want to see the astronauts climb inside their suit, get inside the air chamber, watch it vacuumized, open it up, walk outside with the camera panning all directions. They'll never do these things. Why? Because it's a big joke. And people will just keep going off of it because they make it look so real. And how do they make it look so real and have people accept it? Hollywood. By putting billions of dollars into these movies and making it look as real as it gets, people start to lose their perception of reality. They start taking these CGI videos that they show us of, the satellite Cassini falling and crashing into Saturn, the final pictures of Cassini. It's 100% computerized. It was all obviously fake. There was nothing real about it. And everybody was like, that was so beautiful. Oh my God, this was amazing. It's, one small leap for man and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, good God, man, come on. It says, dramatic, reinterpretation of what really happened. Like, come on. So that day
Yeah,
is
they
going to
haven't
come. I
even told
agree,
us
Aaron.
the truth about what we live on. They can't even tell us like the truth about how far away the sun is, and they're always taking us to space when we could prove all these things from the place we actually live. We don't need to go to space to prove it. There
Yeah,
is
let
no
me see that
space anyway.
95,
But I'm just
93
saying, they've
billion
got us
mile
up
away
there, and we
sun from space.
See, now it's not about science anymore, because they've tricked everyone. Like, no one even really understands science anymore. And so it's not about like those specific figures. It's all completely about, like, really it comes down to the hoax. And it comes to that, like the hardest thing for everyone to grasp in the beginning is, well, if this were true, then that means this is like the biggest deception that we've ever known of, right? And that just, people can't compute that. So they see all this drama going on. Like, we see Elon Musk and we just laugh hysterically. He says we're going to Mars. We're just like, oh yeah, I'm sure you are, buddy. But everyone else just eats it up. You see these people on there, they're just like crying as this fuselage lands back on a barge and the camera cuts out and you can't even see it. And they're like, oh my God, it was amazing. And it's hilarious to watch because, well, from our perspective, because we know it's bullshit. But that's the issue. It has nothing to do with whether the Earth is flat or not. It has everything to do with, well, but this is what I was told, so you're telling me everything that I was taught was wrong. And so you are obviously a fool for telling me that. And so if they're not willing to admit that in any way whatsoever, then just keep on walking. Because someday maybe they will be. And maybe it's going to have to be like Elon Musk actually comes out on the news and says, oh yeah, Mars, we can't go to Mars, it's all flat. Probably not going to happen anytime soon, but that's maybe what some of these people are going to require. And so it's just really, it's like, it's not even about, because yeah, we can prove it all we want. We can prove it all day long. I mean, I think pretty soon actually we're going to just go ahead and get an interferometer here, and we're just going to prove that the Earth itself is motionless, just like Michelson Morley did 100 years ago. But no, I haven't even really seen any flat earthers. Has anyone seen any flat earthers doing this experiment, interferometer? No? Is that a no?
I don't think so.
No, I haven't actually looked and seen myself. I just like you were saying earlier, Aaron, when you stopped caring about you haven't really paid attention. You cared about flat Earth for like 3 years because you've moved past it. It's kind of the same for me, man. For the past few months, once I realized flat Earth was the truth, I moved past it. Now I'm trying to realize, what's the truth about everything. If we're not circling around the sun because of gravity, then what's the truth? Oh, well, this, sun's circling around us because of the ley lines in the ground connected with the electromagnetic force or the electrostatic force of the sun's pull, or lure to the magnetic inertial plane of the Earth's, material elemental, equilibrium. I don't know how I could break that down yet or say that any more complicated than I just did. Sorry, but I don't know. I'm digressing. I'm pulling off to the side. Sorry. It just got me thinking a lot as we keep going. It's just kids. You got my brain moving right now.
I think it's good. Can I chime in on this Mars? I mean, Cassini. Cassini sounds an awful lot like Harry Houdini. These Deenie Genie Weenies, right? These magical people that deal with little spells like Neil deGrasse Tyson does this finger shit. And I'm like, just give me some damn facts. But I wanted to say something to you, Aaron, that relates to your project, Lumen. This is what I just had an aha moment. I have the Raven Project. I put it in the chat side on my website. The Raven Project is basically a community outreach program where it's designed to use astrology to bring astrology and the symbolism into public schools, even universities. So I choreographed a children's narrated story ballet. The lead dancer's name is Loom, like Project Loomis. Her name is Loom because she's Venus. It's basically the story of Christ, Lucifer, Satan. I have Saturn in there. You know what I mean? I have all these. I have the Corvus constellation, which means the blackbird. Columba, that means the dove. So that's a racial thing. So there's no racism going on in the stars. The races are energies. The stars are just energy. So my project, I believe, is very much in line with your principles. And, the more people I meet and I hear what you're saying, I'm blessed and grateful as a dancer and choreographer and a syncretist that I can provide the dance element, because dancing, very important element to wake people up. You know, people don't move. They don't move enough.
Yeah.
They have to have all these excuses to dance. Getting off your ass, doing what we're doing right now is a dance. Talking. When you said you weren't an artist, Aaron, you're an artist because your body is an art. Our Father who art in heaven. So the fact that we're creations of artists, you don't have a choice. You are wearing a costume of earth flesh that makes you an artiste. So we're always artists. Your breath is art. The heart pumping, it's all creative. So yeah, if I could just say that to you, Aaron, in my heart, we are always artists.
I like that.
Can I just say something very, very quickly, and then you go, Aaron? The chat room was saying, "Oh, Karen," and the chat, and I'm just thinking, wow, I'm just sitting here. Yudit says she wants to take her photographs into the schools to tell the children, to show the children the truth. Jay has got his project going, and Aaron has got his project going, and Matthew never stops working on electromagnetics and other projects. I mean, these, you know, there's more people who have been on today, like I said, that do their own thing. I'm really proud of you all, because there is something happening. It is happening.
Yeah.
Carry on, Aaron. I just had to butt in then.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I mean, thank you, Karen. And
I'm going to say thank you, Karen. Karen, you are also very important, providing the platform, the flat disc, the medium.
There you go. Yeah, and the channel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but without you guys, you know, it wouldn't be anything. And this is about the people. We are all the people.
Absolutely. It's all about.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Carry on, Aaron.
Well, it's exactly right. It's about the people. It's about the network, and it's about humbling our egos, right? And that's one thing I really appreciate about you, Karen, and this group that you've had going for a long time now, is that you've kept all the drama out. You know, for the most part, it's unavoidable to some degree. But yeah, you've worked very hard, I know, to keep the drama out and just make this more of an open platform where any ideas is welcome, and we'll discuss it, and it's scientific in that regard. And you know, I really appreciate that, because it's hard to come by in any group, especially this group where there's so much just drama and poof flinging from all sides. And you know, so thank you, Karen, for that, especially.
Oh, thank you guys. But again, you know, like this, you know, it's you lot. I just sit here and listen and put the odd word in. You lot are doing, you know, the real projects and the research. Like, wow, the things that have come out on some of these hangouts.
Exactly, and that's because you have facilitated that. You've brought, you know, these people together. I mean, that's your art. That's your channeling. That's your gift, is to bring people together, and that's what you're doing. And you're demonstrating that. You're showing this is how it's done. Just like I'm trying to show, you know, this is how it's done as far as these various projects and initiatives. And I'm trying to, you know, teach by example, and you're doing the same. You're showing that anyone can come on Sun and Moon, or they just start watching in Sun and Moon. They can realize, oh wow, I could just go create a Google Hangout and do this too. And then they'll realize, oh, it's not so easy, is it? And then, you know, after maybe I don't know how long you've been doing this, but a couple of years now, right?
Sun and Moon Facebook group for
Only been a year.
A year, probably a year and a half of my own, because obviously when I started I was following and watching, and then, you know, like you do, you get be a moderator in flat Facebook groups and things like that. But the actual Hangouts has been going for about a year.
Built up all these
group 6 months, about 5 months, 5 months.
Not really. Okay.
6 months.
I have
live on a bigger platform.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you've had so many huge people on here, and so many great discussions, and just and that's, you know, that's priceless in many ways. And I know you've had to like go through how many channels now, and you know, they're probably you know, they're trying to keep you quiet, keep all of us quiet, and so good luck, you know. And that's a big part of why I'm trying to use blockchain technologies and these other kinds of technologies to to ensure that we can have censorship-free social channels, you know, places to post our content, places to have these discussions that are going to be free of any form of censorship. And it's hard to do. It's just like it's hard to start your own currency unless you do certain technologies that enable it. And so that's, you know, really overall moral of the story is buy Bitcoin. Now, the moral of the story is that, you know, we are these creators. We're all free to do whatever we want. There's no judgment unless we judge ourselves. And so let's use that. Let's use that freedom. Let's use that creative ability to come together and work together and create a much better world. Starting now, take whatever action you feel comes to you. You know, whatever you're inspired to do, do it. Don't hold back. There's no reason to hold back now. There's no reason to be afraid of anything. No reason. If you're having a thought like, oh, I don't know, you know, this AI thing seems like it could really just destroy us all. Well, that's a fear. Like, what are you basing that on? You know, it's not really based on studying how AI works and how maybe.
They've had us a few times, haven't they, on Facebook, where they've been going, do you remember that date in September? Wait for that date in September, the 21st, it's going to be over.
Yeah. We've had so many ends of the world. I mean, I remember the first one. Well, there was the, you know, Y2K, but then there was
Nibiru's coming every month, every day.
I have a quick question. Sorry, what is the AI thing? Is that what you're talking about right now? The AI specific?
Oh, okay. You don't know the AI. Oh, well, the basic AI thing. I think there's just a lot of people have some fear about, like, there's a lot of talk about, like, AI is gonna take over the world and destroy everything, you know. And then there's talk, like, from Elon Musk, you know, it's whatever he says, people latch onto it from either direction, whether they're fanboys or they deeply hate everything that comes out of his mouth, and so then they're gonna, you know, do the opposite because of that. And, you know, I discourage all that because this group has their reasoning behind the way they present things, and they're presenting AI as something that they want us to fear because that disempowers us. It makes us small. It makes us less than powerful. So now, like, I don't have the ability to go learn about AI and create my own version of good AI that helps humanity. Instead, I'm going to sit over here and be afraid of what the central banksters are cooking up as far as their versions of AI, because they're obviously going to create something that's going to just destroy all humanity. And both of those are assumptions, you know, and the assumption that someone couldn't go and learn programming and how to create their own AI and realize, oh, it's actually kind of fun. It's pretty neat. It's a cool technology. It's fun to work with AI. And to accidentally create a sentient being is not going to happen. So don't worry about it. You know, just learn some stuff. And then you'll realize there's no reason to have fear over it. Same with Bitcoin and all these blockchain technologies. There's no reason to have fear. It's an exciting world. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of white hat warriors that are acting on our behalf for the good of all humanity, to save us, to keep us from, you know, to pull us out of this mess we've been in. And you know, if you want to research it, then go ahead, and you'll realize, you know, that there's both sides at play here. There really is, you know, and you can see that in the price of Bitcoin. Watch it go up $1,000, down a few $1,000s, up, and it's all over the place. And that's why, because it's a war, it's a battle. This civil war is not being fought on land. It's online, and it's digital currencies, because the main power has been the petrodollar, has been the centralized currencies. So therefore, the main resistance to that is decentralized currencies. And so now, what's the main battle going to be happening? Where's the battlefield? On the blockchain, in the economy, between these various digital currencies. Some are trying to control us all, and some are trying to give each individual an equal control of our own destiny. And that's who's winning. So Bitcoin's winning, decentralized winning, and we are going to win. We've already won. It's just we have to play it out. We have to reenact this war, and the way to do so is for more and more people to get in on these truths. Now, I'm not saying buy Bitcoin, but do buy Bitcoin, do buy Ethereum, do buy Ironcoin, and buy some of these other solid technologies that could really sustain us in the future and help us move to that future much more quickly. Because we're flipping. We're not, people are realizing fiat, you put your money in a bank account, well, that's may or may not be secure based on some shicey characters, and then the value of it, of what it could buy, is going down, down, down. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's value is going up, 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 up. The reason that's happening is because more and more people are realizing that this is secure. This is my own money. I don't have to share this with anyone. I don't have to pay taxes out of this. This over here, it's outdated. It's not secure. Many banks have been hacked. Many millions and billions of dollars have been stolen because of these insecure systems. And they don't care about you. They don't care about your sovereignty and your freedom and your independence. They don't. They all they care about is that they have control over you, and every single dollar that you put into there, they can tax it. Taxing is illegal. Taxing is a crime. They're committing this crime on us, against us, every single moment that we work and then we pay taxes. Right? That's an absolute crime. It's unconstitutional. When did they get away with that? Well, it's the same guys behind the Fed, this Jekyll Island, these 13 guys. They came together. They formed an elaborate plan. They already had it planned beforehand. This is how they implemented it. They took this action. They came together. They took the action. They decided they were going to do this, and then they took the necessary steps to do it. They utilized the science of manifestation. Well, let's do the same. Let's come together. Let's paint the vision. Let's agree on that vision. Let's figure out the steps that need to be taken, and let's take those steps. And eventually we'll get there. Make no promises on how quickly or how chaotic or how little chaos we'll experience along the way. But I do know we'll get there, because I've already seen it. We've all seen it. We've all been there. We've all been in the future. We just don't all remember it.
Well said.
Oh, so great for your enthusiasm as well, that people are worried about now, but you're seeing a bit of the future to go forward.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful future, and there's nothing to be afraid of. And the whole saying, what is it? The only thing to fear is fear itself, and that's kind of true. I mean, fear is just a thing. It's not even a thing, really. It's just an idea that we entertain, and when we entertain it, we get lost in it. But don't. Instead, just focus on optimism. I mean, in my heart, that's what faith is. Okay, is that this is actually a divine reality, and that for that reason, we're all going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. All these fear thoughts of like, oh, it's going to be a dystopian future, and we're going to all have to go Mad Max and carry sawed-off shotguns and fight over oil and all this. Well, if they shut the power down, we figure out free energy in 3 days. They shut the internet down, we figure out a distributed internet in less time. If they shut down our supply chain, then we have all these independent truckers that will just keep on moving so that we all have food. The farmers will keep on farming so that we have food. If we have to move all our farms to indoor, that's what we have to do. You know what I mean? Like, we will adapt so that we will continue. And that's our spirit. That's because we are all just a spirit. So here we go. Let's just do this. Like we don't need to pretend. We don't need to hide from ourselves. We don't have to be afraid of each other or of ourselves and our power. It's all great. It's awesome. Let's just do it. Let's just stand up right now and do it. I'm gonna stand up, demonstrate. See, I live by example. You can't really tell. I am standing. Maybe you can tell. Yeah. See, standing up.
Yay!
Stand up, man. That's great.
So,
Thank you, Aaron. I don't think. I mean, I know that you're trying to explain yourself today, and maybe people like Matthew and Jay and the Build haven't heard you, and some of the people in the chat room because we haven't been able to stream on this channel for a while. But this isn't something that you. Oh, there's a page. Scribble it down. You've been, we've seen you. We've seen your project. We've seen it.
Yeah.
You've shared your screen and showed us the project, like bit by bit, and all broken down. It's a tree, isn't it, in there?
If you could do a recap of that, I'd love that. I was literally just I jumped on YouTube and just saw your video, Aaron. It said Project Lumen, Aaron Kroeshok, and I was like, oh cool, I know this guy. I want to watch this. Clicked on it, and then next thing I know, my notifications, I looked in those real quick and I saw that Sun and Moon was doing a video. So I was like, okay, I'll come back to this. So I put it in my watch later. And next thing I know, this is what we're doing the group thing on. So if you could do like a recap of that and show on your screen, the project and stuff, because I missed that bit, I would, I'd appreciate that as like a, recap.
We did that another day, but I don't know. Aaron, would you be able to show them a little bit?
I actually can't do that same demo right now. Things are kind of awry with my code. Yeah, that would be unfortunately tough right now, but I could come back on maybe. I mean, I'm actually hoping to launch some of that. I was hoping to already launch it, but things take time that they do. And so I'm hoping to launch it so anyone will be able to just go there and use it and see it. And that's going to be soon here in the next couple of weeks. So if not, I mean, I could come back on and do a demo of a lot of things I'm working on. I've got some stuff that's going to come out in February that's going to be huge and fun. And there's some documentary stuff. There's all kinds of projects that I will be able to show more of. It's just tough right now. Things are all.
Of course, you've got to come back, haven't you?
Yeah, of course.
Because even though, like, even Jay's heard it today, or Matthew's heard it today, and some of the chat room, it's new. You still got to keep explaining it, haven't you? A bit, you have to.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to keep on
doing
doing
that for a lot of people.
This is going to be my new job, I think, just going around explaining it. But
so is that a date then? You'll come back and show them a bit of your program, so they can, people like to see things and understand things, and Aaron talks about spirituality, Flat Earth TV, sorting NASA out, education, farming.
Thanks. Bitcoin.
Can I chime in about your not having any fear? That's a very beautiful thing you said, the fear thing. We live in a world where, we're watching things that promote paranoia and fear. And what's funny about death is that when we think of death today in this corporate sense, everyone's afraid because they want to stay here. And when we think about that, right? Oh my God, I'm losing someone who's going somewhere else. The whole point is to not want to stay on this plane, to ascend, right? Hence the Egyptians and Sumerians having thousands and thousands of pages for their afterlife books, preparing for some bigger and better thing. And then just to add to that, Ma'at, the goddess of justice, she has a heart and a feather. And I had an aha moment while y'all were talking about the feather and the flying, the bird. Well, feather is the same as the heart. Feather, earth, ear, they're the same word. And then we have, of course, Ma'at balancing our heart with the flight. So she's taking all of our energies. If we're fearful, what you were saying, if we're scared and we're taking a backside seat, just as bad as fear, we're not going to have an ascension. We're going to come back and contribute to the hell.
Right.
So, yeah. And appreciate your work, man. What's your YouTube and your name and all that?
Earth Aaron, I think, is how you can find me.
Okay.
Maybe I can pop a link or Karen, or I can pop a link in here. Or you can't pop links in the chat thing. Is that how that works? I'll just type my name. I mean, I guess.
No, I think you can. I did. Yeah, your site should be able to go in. Yeah, I believe.
Oh well, I was gonna put it in the group chat.
Oh, whatever.
Let's just do it this way. earthearn.com, I think. Yeah. I don't know. I need to
Okay.
get more on there too. I have like 50 websites or something. I lose track of them all. But yeah. I'm trying to get like all my stuff more organized. It's kind of tough because I keep on making more stuff too. Like I've done a lot of videos and documentaries and stuff that still haven't even come out yet. So like you'll see this mug up on Netflix in the year to come. So it's exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hang on, Aaron.
Hanging on.
You can now put your links in. Because this is a different channel, isn't it? You know, we've been away for here so long that on the other channels, other people are wrenched and all sorts of things. But, you know, like we were on here 3 months ago. It's quite a long time. I can't remember everybody's name who was wrenched before. Sorry, wrenches or people in the chat room. I just can't remember it. And then new people joined other groups and...
Gotta keep up with your rent.
Yeah, you're wrenched now.
All right.
Are you able to see I'm not familiar with wrenches and stuff. Like, can you see my sites? I guess you can, right? Or no?
Yeah, you put
You have to write in the watch page chat room, and I can wrench you, and then you can leave links in there. And wrenches help out in the chat room if trolls turn up, and we protect each other.
I just typed something in the side and I dumped in my site and it accepted it with no monkey wrenches or screwdrivers. So is that readable? I just want to know if that went through.
I don't see you on the watch page.
He's talking about the Hangout chat. You're in the Hangout chat. Jay.
Yes.
And then she's talking.
Yeah, no, not that one.
Chat.
The watch page. I sent you the link for that.
All right. Well, I'm doing.
Sorry. I have no idea what the hell that is. But can you see my Raven project link,
Yeah,
Aaron?
I got the Raven project. Yeah.
Cool.
That's
We good.
Cool. I like it.
What it is Aaron, Jay also tries to teach. Do the wind, fire, earth. Go on, just explain that bit when you tell your ballet dancers.
Yes, thank you for the intro. So in ballet, we have 5 major positions, and from watching Santos Bonacci's work, and him always showing geometry, I realized that the 5 major positions of ballet align with the 5 elements: earth, water, air, fire, and ether, and also the 5 geometric shapes. But what really connects geometry with ballet specifically is the dodecahedron, the sphere, which is the 5th element. Very simple. In ballet, we have what is called 5th position, where the dancers put their feet like this in 2 positions, and they put their hands over their head like this, which would be the dodecahedron. So the BALL in ballet is the ether. So we're dancing with Esther, Venus, Lucifer, all the gods and goddesses. Here we are dancing with them and partnering people as a symbol of ether or energy. So yeah, it's what I do. And I'm very passionate. I'm teaching at University of Iowa, where they come in with Darwinisms and ball earth shit, and they come in depressed from homework. And I know, because I'm a grad student, somehow it's a miracle I've been sent here to teach what I teach, because I'm teaching all the stuff that the indigenous folks were killed over.
Right.
All the natural stuff, you know. So it's so important to bring nature back into the academic world, that I'm grateful. So yeah.
Awesome. Great job. Yeah, I definitely see dance as an extremely powerful form of awakening in oneself, you know. When my first teacher was Sufi, and so we kind of did some of the whirling dervish stuff. That was very transformative, yeah. And I've done some other.
Funny. When you said whirling, okay, so here's an awesome moment of syncretism. In ballet, we have what is called the pirouette. Pirouette means to turn, or it's fire, pyros. You said whirling. Elohim also means to turn and twist. That turn, so it's like, it's always sinking, man. Yes, the spiraling.
Yeah. Well, it's dervish. Because there's whirling dervish. I mean, dervish has to be something, who knows what. I mean, it's probably related in some way. But yeah.
Totally.
What's his name? I can't remember. I remember the guy who he would work with the whirling dervishes, and he was kind of one of the main Sufi teachers. But he did this whole thing. It almost came to me, but where he would have all these dancers. They would dance. They were doing the whirling on stage. He would like not tell them if they're about to fall off the stage, and they would just fall off the stage, and they would be fine because they were in this trance state. And so, like, you know, they sort of just completely flow with it, you know, like they didn't really have any thought. But if they did have a thought, and they're like, oh, and they start doing that, all of a sudden they like break a bone or something. Really interesting.
That you just blew. I'm gonna research that. That makes sense because there's a technique. It's called Gaga technique from Bat Sheva in Israel. We did it last year, and the guy who made that dance, he basically learned that from trusting his body and not being fearful, that he could recover from his injuries better. So he has this whole technique of just moving in your own way, not thinking and not feeling fearful, because that makes total sense. That moment of is what creates the injury.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Can I just say as well, Liz, that even though, like I said at the beginning of the Hangout, that we have been, you know, for months talking with Aaron. He's part of Sun and Moon group on Facebook, and we've heard the project many times. I can understand why Matthew would want to see it. So you've got to come back and show us a bit of this project more.
Absolutely.
Aaron.
Oh, I'll show you more. Trust me. Yeah, I mean, I was hoping to have some more today, but, you know, things just whatever. But no, I've definitely got more in the works. There'll be a lot of show and tell coming up in the near future. I'm actually someone who I don't like talking about things unless I can really show them. And so this is coming out of my comfort zone, honestly. But, you know, I think it's important for what I'm doing, and this is why I started talking about it and trying to get other people on board with it, you know, so we could work together. But yeah, there's definitely gonna be a lot more to come to see, to actually work with, interact with, as well as, you know, these networks. I mean, we're going to have places to live. We're going to have modes of travel. We're going to have communications. We're going to have currencies, and it's all going to be through these avenues of trust, in the sense that, I mean, you don't even have to trust me, you know, just trust these systems. The fact that hopefully you do trust me is going to help, and that's part of why I'm coming out and just talking about them, you know. But it's really about, like, just getting these technologies out there for us to use, so that now we have the viable alternative solutions that can solve a lot of these problems and create the ideal world that we want to see. And now, you know, I'm impatient. I don't want to wait for utopia. I've already been waiting for 20 plus years. I've been waiting for this. You can ask my parents. I was always just like, this isn't how it was supposed to be. You know, I knew it wasn't how it was supposed to be. I knew that people were confused about this reality, with this realm, and then I came more and more to realize, oh, that's because they were fooled. They were tricked, and now people don't want to admit that they've been tricked. And we've all admitted that, at least fundamentally. But then there's a whole nother step, which is, what do you do about it? You know, and so that's why I'm trying to inspire action. You know, let's come together. We are coming together. Here we are together discussing these things, open-minded, and, you know, moving through our own fears, our own uncertainties into these projects that can really just help us, and help us quick. You know, so let's do it. I think I'm done, because I've really got to go to the bathroom, and probably got.
Thank you for sharing that. Release the tension, man.
But I mean, I can hold it if we want to wrap up here. Hold it metaphorically.
Yeah, because obviously, whatever anybody thinks, talking for 3 hours takes a bit out of you.
I'm energized. I'm ready to go. Let's create a new world right now. After I go to the bathroom. But
Aaron, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Aaron, you always say that after about 3 hours.
I know, it's weird. Like, I got one of those weird bladders that
Body
Shall
cleaning stuff.
We've been going for 3.5 hours now. Do you think that we should just end the hangout, but obviously come back and say goodbye after you've been to the loo?
I can hop back on after the loo. But yeah, let's call it for this time, and maybe in another week or two I'll come back on and have some more to show and tell. And thank you guys. Good meeting you, Jay and Matthew, right?
Yeah, thank you.
And
Likewise.
James was on there before too, right? And then we had Josh. So yeah, it's been a good group.
More family.
All the family.
Can I just say that we're not on tomorrow? We're back on Sunday. It usually is an angel and artist night, which is usually on like ancient structures and arkings. But for a bit, D Marble is going to pop on and have a bit of a hangout with us. So that's going to be a bit extra on Sunday. But anyway, thank you so much to everybody in the chat room. Thank you to everybody that's been on the panel. And that's Yudit still here, Jay, Matthew, and thank you so much, Aaron. Is there a passing word everybody would like to give before they go?
Yes, thank you, Karen, for hard work that you do, bring us together. Thank you, everybody. Much love.
Oh, we love you too, Yudit, and all you do. Jay?
Yes, can we all say that we're dancers and be cheesy on the count of 3? Is that okay?
Yay. Go on then.
So, 1, 2, 3.
We're
We
dancers.
are dancers.
We are dancers.
Much love, Jay. Matthew, are you there? Matthew.
Oh, hey, sorry, I totally didn't realize.
Oh, there he is.
Sorry, I totally didn't realize you guys were even saying anything. I'm so incredibly inspired. You guys have no idea. I'm starting. Aaron really has helped. You know, you sparked this thing for me, Aaron. And then as we keep going, I keep writing things down. So like right now, I've got like this little small layout, and I'm gonna shape my project as if it was a book. You know, so the title of the book is gonna be the focus of the project. You know, and then each chapter is going to be an individual element that all culminates together in order to achieve that title or that purpose of the project. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of going. So I'm sorry, I totally missed maybe the last 5 minutes of what was happening, to be honest.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll let you off.
I'm sorry. I'm just you guys got me excited. So I'm actually going to do a video myself after all of this. I haven't done a live video on Facebook yet, but I'm going to give it a try. Or not Facebook, but YouTube. So I'm going to give it a try, and I'm going to explain my little new project. And then each video I do after that is going to be a chapter, you know? So I don't know, Aaron, this is killer, man. I'm going to keep watching. I'm going to keep following you, man. But you've inspired me.
Good luck.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
Much love, Matthew. Aaron, last word's yours.
Well, thanks, Karen, for having me again and for having this platform. And thank you, Yudit, for being here and being so kind and loving. And then thank you all for being here and supporting this and hearing me out, asking me questions. And I think, Jay, you're echoing me.
It's Yudit. I just turned Yudit down. Oh, she's turned off now. It's Yudit.
Okay.
It wasn't me, but it's okay.
Oh, wasn't it you? Sorry, Yudit.
But yeah, so thanks everyone, and I'm really excited to be able to share this information and for what is to come. I'm extremely excited for what's to come. Huge things on the flat horizon, and as far as just what I'm doing, what everyone's doing, what I really think is going to happen this year, this is going to be an amazing year, people. So buckle up and just be ready for and have fun with it, because you know, we are in positions where we get to be ambassadors to all these people that are going to be coming online, waking up. They're just popping out of the matrix, and we get to be their Morpheus, right? And so that's going to be happening, and as well as we're going to continue waking up. So be prepared for the unknown, you know, which you can't really prepare for. So just roll with it, just go with it, go with the flow, wherever it takes you, and you'll be fine. And just know that we're all going to be fine. Nothing to fear at all. We're all going to be fine. Just listen to your heart, and your heart will tell you exactly the same thing. You're going to be fine. I love you all.
Oh, thank you, Aaron. And Aaron will come back and show us a bit more of his project. It is good night from us. Thank you very much, Aaron, again, and see you Sunday. It's good night from us. Bye, everybody.
Later.